Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Outsiders Stranded, and this is
someone.
My friend Kyle, who's also my co-host. You'll see him a lot, honestly. Now, this channel is actually about opening everyone else's minds as well as our own to experience different things, such as different topics of cultural conditioning, meditation, and many other topics we'd love to discuss to hopefully open the brains.
It is the edutainment podcast.
Yes, it is. Also, there will be a slight gaming segment on here as well, and or link with his channel, The Kylor Show.
I also do gaming, and I'm working on creating a podcast called Vicious Cycle of Positivity, which mirrors my Facebook page.
Indeed. Link in the description will be below as well. Hope you enjoy everything, and like, subscribe, and share, and hope you be educated.
And here's your host, Chance Clark.
I guess that's me. Kyle, roll the intro.
I'll do it later.
Why? Damn it, Kyle!
Welcome to Outsiders Stranded. Here's your host, Chance Clark.
Hi everyone, how's it going? This is Outsiders Stranded. I'm your host, Chance Clark, and here is Kyle.
That's me.
Indeed.
I'm from the Kylor Show.
Indeed he is, and this is my first episode of my podcast. Welcome. If you don't know and don't know him or me, feel free to check our channels out. But get back to that later. Right now we are discussing a few different topics, but first off, what we're going to be talking about is a little bit what this YouTube channel is going to be. This podcasting channel is going to be about trying to open our minds as well as yours who are willing to also how do I put this, Kyle? Would it be to enlighten others or to give others knowledge of what's going on around?
To awaken or to give insight.
Basically what he said.
My name is Kylor. I have a YouTube channel called The Kylor Show. There will be a link to that in the description as I am doing the editing for this video. I also have a page called Vicious Cycle of Positivity where I talk about some of the things that I have learned throughout my life and also some personal philosophies of mine, some life stories, because I have been on this sort of path of personal growth and self-discovery for a while. Chance has been there for me, with me through a lot of it. And I've tried my best to help him out with as much stuff as possible.
Indeed, as well as his own personal mentalities and problems that he's been going through. He's also helped me as well to understand a lot of different things and to look at myself from a different perspective and open my mind up a bit more to see what I can further improve on to myself as well to improve others without them realizing it in a way of positive manner instead of negative, which is what the world needs more of.
Vicious Cycle of Positivity.
Indeed.
The whole idea behind it.
Please check out his Facebook page about it. We'll send a link in the description. Like
Facebook channel.
Well, Facebook.
Check out my Facebook channel and my YouTube page.
Yes, well, Facebook channel. Words, man. What can I tell you?
Our understanding needs to go beyond them.
Honestly.
And tell them about what your podcast basically is, Outsiders Stranded, the whole idea behind it. Because today's episode is going to be largely about cultural conditioning.
A lot
and how to escape from that mindset.
Indeed. Basically what this channel is about, trying to...
While I drink tea.
Indeed.
Zuko, you must explain the channel to them. Look inside yourself and find the meaning of the video.
Thank you, Uncle Arrow. Whoever doesn't know that reference, please go watch Avatar.
The Last Airbender.
Yeah, Avatar: Last Airbender, not the live action.
If you watch, damn it, I don't remember the director's name.
Kyle, edit that in.
Yes, that man. If you watch his Avatar movie, you'll be confused. You'll be like, "Where's Iroh?"
Yeah, his name will be right here in the palm of my hand, right, Kyle?
I'll make it happen with editor magic.
But anyway, this channel is actually to open people's minds and who feel lost and misguided to the point where they don't know what to do, or they're too stressed, they want to change, or not really change, but to the way of words.
To tune out the noise that blocks us from knowing what we truly know.
Indeed. And a lot of that, like I said, is through cultural conditioning, what we've been basically spoon-fed since we were
Because
born.
beyond the noise, we truly know the path. It's
We do.
just, it gets buried under all the rhetoric and bullshit that we are fed on a day-to-day basis.
Indeed.
So, it's just a matter of silencing the mind, and you'll immediately know what to do.
Yep.
We're already there, and then from that point, once you realize you're there, it's just growth.
It is. And progress is progress, no matter how small. Always be proud of no matter how much progress you make.
If people will tell you in today's society that you have to reach a certain point at such a time, don't believe that. Because people grow at different rates.
Indeed, they do.
Always give yourself the credit for the changes and the discoveries and the lessons that you've learned.
Yes.
Because if you say things like, I should have done more with my life, I'm like ancient now. Like I did for a while. You're gonna go to a dark place in your mind.
And I'm pretty sure we've all been there in our own minds like that from time to time again, and it's a cycle, and it keeps recurring, and we kind of wonder why.
It's a loop.
It is a loop.
The universe will repeat a lesson over and over again until you finally learn.
And break that cycle completely.
I have observed that to be a constant. I would almost call it a law of reality at this point.
I would actually agree, because I've noticed that in my life as well.
It seems like every single time something happens, it's teaching you a big life lesson, and then you deny it, you go back into it because there's some level of security in the routine, there's some sort of security in staying where you already are, but the lesson is telling you to get out of that situation or change the way you're thinking. If you don't do that, it will just repeat over and over and over again. And things might get better for a little bit, but it'll eventually flip back around.
And it goes the same for about anything, honestly, about the way you live your life, the way your job is, the way people are around you, if they're positively affecting you or negatively affecting you. It all goes hand in hand. It really does.
Your setting does have a large part to do with the vibrations and energies that you will take in, but the great thing is learning to observe without absorbing.
Yes, that really helps completely, and I've learned that.
Because
Kyle has helped me with that.
Someone who truly knows themselves will never be bothered by the opinions or words or actions of others.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to change that situation, sometimes you have to act, sometimes you have to do things, but sometimes it's best just to observe and do nothing.
Yeah. Like, say that you basically work at a factory and it's a stressful job and there's a lot of negative energy around you. And you notice that, but what you don't notice is that you're also absorbing that negative energy and frustration, as well as taking it out on other people who don't really deserve it, but you don't know why you're upset or angry, and it gets you even more upset, honestly, and stressed out. That's happened to me several times.
But then you're just beating yourself up for the mistake you know you made.
Exactly.
You have to give yourself that forgiveness that you deserve. I have just absorbed all the tea this mug.
Your mouth has absorbed it all.
Yes, so that's gone now.
You're going.
So, I'm here to do some speaking.
Indeed. And Kyle.
And Chance has written 3 questions. We talked a lot. We just kind of went on a tangent. We just kind of followed it for a while, but that's good. That's what we're here for.
Yes.
We're here to be spontaneous, but Chance has written down 3 questions that he wants you to cover in today's episode of the podcast, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be calling The Power of Being an Outcast.
Indeed it is.
Because being a loner can show you some amazing things, and I've learned that. Because you might see some things that I do, and you're going to be like, oh, he's such an extrovert, he's very, very bombastic, and he has all this energy. And you know what? That is very, very true. I'm very extroverted. I do random stuff in public all the time, just to kind of overcome anxiety. Like, I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to be as weird as I want to be, because I don't want to take my life too seriously. Cut to something stupid that I've done on video. But I'm actually, in reality, quite an introvert. I spend a lot of my time alone. I spend a lot of my time walking around in nature. I spend a lot of my time just being introspective and being alone and sitting in the stillness of my mind. Because that's where the most truth lies. There's too much noise going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's largely why, if you go to my channel, you'll see my uploads have been very sporadic. It's because I do like a period of making a couple videos, and then I'll just go away from technology for a while. I'm going to try and be more active on my channel because I love making videos. But that's been largely what it is. Also, I had surgery. I had to recover from that.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you recovered.
Yeah, I had a pectus excavatum surgery. So I had this big cave-in chest, and they took 2 metal bars and they flipped it out, and now I have a flat chest. They robbed me of my boobies, Chance.
I don't know how to fix that, Kyle. I'm not a surgeon. I'm sorry. Do you want me to open you back up where your wounds are and just put cotton stuffing in there? Just anything you want. Maybe chicken breast. I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
you might get infected, but
probably I'll get salmonella doing that. But like, if you look at this, yeah, this is what this has turned into. There's the scar that healed properly.
And then
this is the scar that ripped open because I'm just a little too active.
Yeah. The second day out of surgery, he started walking everywhere.
Yeah, the second day after I had my bars taken out, I went for like a 10-mile walk.
He walks a lot, honestly, and it's really healthy and good for it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's able to do that.
Because if you take care of yourself, you'll feel good.
Indeed. But anyway,
yeah.
To continue on
another tangent
about Kyle that we've been on now. To get straight to the point, Kyle, how do we basically deal with stress, anxiety, and depression in this modern society? And
because there is a lot of that in modern society.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
It's from what I've seen, it has grown exponentially, and this year specifically has brought a lot of that into fruition. It's brought that into the cycle, and now people are running through that loop, and it seems like there's no way out of it.
Indeed.
I feel like that was the best way I could describe this year.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting for this year, honestly. And of course, since it is November now, they're nearing the end of 2020. We don't know what's coming up for 2021, but hey, that's for the future to decide. We can't really, make assumptions.
And there's also a lesson to be learned there.
Yes.
Think, and this is one of the best ways to overcome negative feelings and negative thoughts and depression, is to not think about the problems you have, but think about the ones that you don't. Because there are a lot of people that complained about 2019 being a bad year.
Oh, yeah.
Not knowing the storm to come.
Yep.
So we don't know if next year is going to be worse. I'm going to say I hope it isn't. But if you go into everything, expect nothing. Accept everything. If you go into things with that mentality, you're able to kind of ride the flow a lot better. Yeah. It's effortless living, basically.
It is.
Basically, think about the problems that you don't have. We're breathing. That's something to appreciate.
It is.
We're currently alive. That's something to appreciate. We haven't been attacked by a leopard in the past 24 hours. That's pretty cool. Some countries can't say that.
Yeah. Sadly.
Yeah.
It is sad.
So, I mean, people tend to cling on to these negative feelings. Like, they're just holding their suffering because they identify with it. But if you just kind of let that go and practice gratitude over pessimism, you can pull yourself out of that very quickly. I actually suffered a really, really deep depression where I went silent for a while. I would listen to music because I think of things so differently that if I talked to somebody about my problems, I felt like they would look at me like I was from another dimension or something. Like, I don't really fit in the modern demographic of today's society.
Oh yeah, you really don't.
And that's the power of being an outcast, because I discovered some amazing truths while I was doing that. The first being, all of my suffering was coming from me.
Yep.
And the second was I learned a lot about how people work by the way that they would react to my presence.
So, how does one overcome, say, major anxiety? Because that is a big thing that a lot of people have, that sometimes they really can't control fully, or don't understand why they're getting this a whole big anxiety attack.
Yeah.
Honestly, especially when it's out of nowhere from work.
And because of the, I'm an eccentric person. I do some stuff.
Indeed.
I'm very outgoing with the right crowd.
Yes.
But after getting introspective for a while, I actually sort of discovered that I do have a layer of anxiety that I sort of denied existed. Like, I would go into situations being like, oh, I gotta say the right thing, because I've been a perfectionist for a long time.
Yep.
So I really always went into conversations not knowing what to say because I was overthinking it and I wouldn't just go with the flow. And I would get this sort of anxious feeling of, what do I do in a social situation? So I would kind of like overact in a way.
Yeah.
And sometimes that would push people away a little bit because they thought I was being too, like, upfront or energetic or just really, really strange. And so eventually I just sort of started toning myself down and realizing, I'm not here to please everyone. But also it's just a big matter of realizing everyone's just people. Let go of the idea of inferior and superior.
Yeah.
And also let go of the idea of good and bad, because if you judge people that way, that's just a different kind of prejudice.
Mm-hmm. And you're just putting on labels on things that you know nothing really about.
If you see yourself and others and you view everyone as basically the same as you, you'll treat them a lot better, and they'll like you a lot better.
Indeed. As well as treating other people, you also have to treat yourself with kindness, respect, and love.
And there's different kinds of anxiety. That was kind of social anxiety. If you're just somebody who lies awake at night overthinking things, and I've also had this problem in the past, stop trying to project into the future. It's really that simple. Like, if you're trying to project into a dimension of time that does not exist yet, and when you're thinking about something that is uncertain and there's multiple different variables, the butterfly effect, you can just take multiple paths, there's doors that are open, there's way too many, your mind is trying to comprehend what you should do, what other people are going to do. You're thinking the worst because the ego likes to do that. It's your survival instinct. It tries to think of the worst so you're prepared for it, and then it makes you feel bad. So if you just stay grounded in the present moment and accept things as they unfold in front of you, that really does, that's how I cured my anxiety. And curing depression was pulling myself out of the past. In the present moment, there is peace. I have nothing to worry about right now. I am breathing, I'm happy.
Which is really good, and I'm really happy for you, and I'm really glad that you can actually, keep overcoming those bad and terrible thoughts, and also, either just social anxiety in general, like a lot of people suffer through. And I've had a lot of anxiety as well, random anxiety that my brain likes to overwork itself even when I'm at work, and then I'm like, wow, why do I feel this guilt, or why do I feel like shit, sometimes? But my brain likes to overwork things as well, like everyone else's as well. Yeah. But the thing is, when your brain comes up with that, that's just your brain telling you and bringing up past memories of, like, as well as the future, bringing up different things, scenarios, trying to more or less bring you down.
Yeah.
But those thoughts aren't really...
They're not really you, per se. Because you are the awareness behind them. You are not the thoughts, you are the awareness. You can observe them, you can watch your feelings come up, you can learn the lesson they're trying to teach you, because there is a lesson they're trying to teach you.
Oh yeah.
And then once you observe them and you tell them that it's okay, from this conscious point, they just kind of go. Like, view your consciousness as the sky and your thoughts as the clouds. They just kind of flow, but the sky remains.
Yeah.
It's whole.
As well as what Kyle has told me. View it as your thoughts auditioning for your attention.
Yes.
And if they keep saying, hey, we keep bringing the same thing up that you don't really like, and it keeps bothering you, acknowledge it. Say, yes, you're there. We've dealt with that. You can leave. It's gone.
View them as auditioning for your attention. They are your advisors, not your leaders.
Because if you say no or deny them, they're just going to come right back, but even stronger.
Yeah, don't suppress things.
No.
You got to do the proper shadow work. Don't suppress things, because then they will come back with more intensity.
Oh, yes.
You have to actually be honest with the negative things you are feeling and balance that yin-yang, that Tao, within you. Everything's a duality of some point, of some kind. Because some people, they suppress these negative thoughts, and then they just come back with more and more intensity, and then they guilt themselves. They're like, why am I thinking this? And then it just builds up. Those thoughts are sneaky. They'll start thinking things like, I'm thinking too much. That's also a thought.
It is. It is.
The mind is very, very sneaky. It likes to creep up on you and make you identify with it. I is the name the ego calls itself when pretending to be you.
Yeah.
But you have to be honest with those negative opinions and be like, nah, it's okay.
Yeah.
You just have to kind of keep checking on yourself. People are always too busy looking outward. They don't look inward. And do the proper maintenance that we need to do.
Yeah.
Like, we're just in this big complex machine, and nobody's read the user's manual.
No,
we have to figure it out on the ride.
Yeah, we're basically like, hey, what page and chapter are we supposed to be on? Oh, wait, just disintegrated in midair. I guess I'm gonna go with it. Fuck it.
Yeah. And it also comes back to what I said about just acceptance.
Mm.
Accept everything as if you had chosen it for yourself. Just go into life saying yes to this. Because if you say yes to life, no matter what pops up, if it's negative, positive, whatever it is, then you are willing and you can deal with it without stress. Because there's a quote that I absolutely love. I think it's by Buddha. I read a lot of philosophers. I can't remember exactly who it is. I'll put it somewhere on screen. Who said it? Stress is the gap between your expectation and reality.
I definitely agree with that. I can't remember who that was either, but you showed me.
All of our suffering is basically just an internal resistance to what is happening.
Indeed.
But if you accept it, there's no resistance, and you can just deal with it calmly.
Yeah. This also that also falls into the thing of depression, as well as going to the negative mindset. That way, that the brain creates. That also, transforms into depression, negative, and they make you feel less of a person.
I've noticed thinking certain thoughts will rewire your brain certain ways.
Oh yeah.
As I said, practice gratitude over pessimism. If you think negative thoughts and your primary language is complaining, gossip, all these different negative things, that's going to just kind of become who you are. Your habit hardens into character. But if you practice unconditional love and you practice gratitude, but kind of check yourself when you wake up in the morning. Waking up is one of those things. You wake up, maybe you had a weird dream. I have really weird dreams. Chances seen it. I tend to wake up like, oh, what the hell just happened? But
yeah,
I sort of ground myself. I meditate every morning, and I just sort of drink my coffee, and I just kind of go, still alive.
Grateful you're breathing. Grateful that you're still here. Hey, it's a great day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the great mentality that all people should have, really.
You're never given a good or a bad day. That's up to you.
Yeah, it's all about the mindset and what you choose to let affect you.
Yeah. Did the rain come to spoil your beautiful day, or has the rain come to nourish the plants that provide your oxygen? Everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it. Confucius said that.
Yes, he did, actually. I did read about that one. Also, a good help for a lot of this is to look up and research yourself on a lot of this. It really helps. It's helped me a lot. He's introduced me to a lot of different philosophers and a lot of different
researching
things.
It helps to some extent, but you also have to look inside yourself. Like, you have to look inside yourself and sit in that silence and just really actually learn yourself, because you'll understand things when your mind is silent. It's interesting how it works, but it's just an understanding of how you work, and reality works beyond words.
Yeah. The more you understand yourself, the happier you will be.
Yes.
Honestly, it really is. I've learned to love myself a lot, and Kyle's seen that. For myself, through my own spiritual journey I've been on.
He's grown a lot.
A lot in the past, 5 months,
yeah,
honestly. And this entire apartment, when I first got this apartment, for the first 3 months I was in a real bad place when I first got it, in a bad mindset and everything, honestly. And then Kyle, I've always known Kyle for periods beyond that, honestly, since I don't know, maybe 4 years, 4 or 5 years almost, actually. Yeah.
But we never really talked a whole lot. We had this kind of relationship in school where I would just kind of come and go and say stuff, and then I would leave.
Indeed. People would think he was, of course, the outcast, which
I was okay with that.
Which is okay with it. People thought he was weird, didn't like that, but I was like, hey, he's basically like me.
And that's some of the stuff.
He's just more ecstatic than I am.
Yeah, that's some of the stuff that I was learning. It's just weird. It's just one of those judgments. You have to let go of judgment to see reality how it actually is. If you see things through a judgment, you're looking through a prism and you're projecting your feelings on the things that aren't there.
Indeed. That's why I thought you were always nice, pretty cool, and actually pretty comical, honestly.
Yeah.
The funny things you say are really hilarious.
And like I test people sometimes. Funny story.
Psychologically,
I just sort of do things. It's never like a big thing. Like I'm not gonna go and gaslight somebody. It's just little experiments here and there. And one day I walked up to Chance during school.
Lunchtime.
And I placed like $35 on the table, and I just kind of stared at him. And in my mind, I was just like, Chance is a really, really nice guy. He's not going to take this money. He's going to be like, why are you doing this? He's going to give it back to me. He took the money.
I did. I was like, I'm confused, but like, then he walked away without me realizing what the fuck was going on. I was like confused. So it was like slowly, he was like, okay. It's like, I don't know how I feel about this. And just slowly put it in my pocket and just left it there, basically, to its own devices.
So then with a newly empty wallet, I was like, I did this to myself, and I walked away. I accepted it.
I didn't realize everything was going on. I was like, I don't know if it was a trap or a thing. It was like, I was like, no one's giving me money. I don't know what to do. It was like, I'm in high school. It was like, I didn't have a job. I was like, oh, okay, now I guess I have money now. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
It's like, right. Well, that was my own thing.
Yeah,
like,
the lesson was, don't be so confident in my observations and deductions about people.
Yeah.
I'm able to Sherlock Holmes people every now and then, but not that accurately. I learned that. Humility.
Honestly, that was the one time I really stumped you, surprisingly enough.
It happens.
Yeah, but that was a great time. That was good. But
I laughed my ass off at that. Like when I went home, I was just like, I'm broke now. Damn it.
Great times. But anyway, another topic we can talk about, we should probably get into right about now, would be how to enjoy the little things in life, honestly. Because a lot of people take everything for granted. Like, say, nature itself, or breathing, like we talked about, being alive. Just being here, existing. People take that for granted.
Mm-hmm. And the answer to it may sound morbid, but it's absolutely true. People live their lives forgetting their own mortality.
Yeah.
They live their lives almost expecting this to keep going because the mind can't comprehend its own non-existence.
It really can't. But people think like death is like, oh, just a deep dark abyss, or, say, like heaven, but that's on a different topic. But it's the mind, like you said, cannot grasp its own.
Because the mind has always known. It has always known one thing, and I say always because it's literally always. It's the one thing that the mind always knows, and that is I am. The mind always knows I am here. I am here right now. And people tend to forget this. They tend to forget this more and more as it gets clouded with all this stuff. Like you need to kind of ground yourself in this I am presence and stay in the moment, so you don't catch yourself becoming a time gazer and thinking about the future or the past all that much. But basically, just live your life as if you're already dead.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, honestly, because
if you actually remember the impermanence of everything, you sort of realize, and you sort of create this dissolution between yourself and material possession. You don't always feel the need to have this or have that because you realize you have everything. You're whole. I love my Buddha cup, but I can't take this with me after I'm gone. This is just something that I have. It holds my coffee, it holds my tea, it is useful to me right now, but I don't own this. Yeah. I have let go of the concept of ownership, and it actually has made me happier because I don't find myself striving for things so much.
Yeah.
I'm able to live content with very little.
Mm-hmm.
And Chance has seen this.
Oh, completely. Honestly, he's basically just more or less had completely nothing for several times, and what he does have is just
everything I need.
Yeah, everything he really needs. Honestly, like he's been through really a rough life, honestly, without even you just kind of looking and realizing. But he slept on park benches as well as probably multiple others as well.
I've slept on freezing cold park benches. I've slept in abandoned cars.
Yeah,
I've been around.
And I've slept in my own car being homeless before too, so I know how that feels. And I was lucky enough to have a car and lucky enough to have clothes, so I was grateful for that, honestly. And that's what I learned. Like, just be grateful for the things you have. Just even if it's on your back, the clothes on your back.
Mhm.
Being alive. I was surprised I even had a job still. And honestly, too.
We're always thinking about what needs to happen next.
Exactly.
We're living our life like it's forever, but
It's not.
you need to sort of take the time to just
Breathe.
appreciate your breath.
Yeah.
And when we drink tea or coffee or anything, we're always in a hurry. We're like, gotta get this caffeine in me so I can go to work. But enjoy the flavor of it. Another thing Confucius said is, we all eat, but not everyone enjoys the taste of food. He's saying, sit down and smell the roses.
Yeah. Take the time to enjoy the little things. Because...
And that's another thing. I've brought up Confucius. This is the third Confucius quote in this video.
Yeah.
But he said, we have two lives. And the second one begins when we realize we only have one. You have to realize and remember death, and then live your life like you've already died.
Yeah.
Let go of that no longer positively serves you, and it will actually benefit you greatly.
Indeed. Like,
it's very hard to do. It's a little bit of a self-destructive process, but if you step into that furnace of self-discovery, you'll just realize that you don't need any of this commodities and money and success or material success or fame or anything of that sort.
Speaking about money as well, that is also a pretty decent topic to talk about the whole
cultural conditioning. The point of this episode that we haven't talked about at all yet.
We talked about all the other points so far besides cultural conditioning.
The biggest power that comes from being an outsider is you sort of learn the mental illness of society.
Yeah.
And that is the worship of money, the worship of separatism. The ego is telling the story of self and other, but there's really no separation. We're all connected.
Mm-hmm. Such as other names of countries, borders, and things. They're just labels. They don't exist.
I've done a little bit of traveling here and there, and every single time I cross a state border, I always make the joke, where is it? I don't see it. It must be pretty damn small. I don't see any border. It's not really there, is it? It's just a concept that humans invented. Once you start seeing past the illusions that people think are real, you realize that a lot of our reality, what we think is reality, is just something that we've made life to be, but we've overcomplicated something that is so very simple. We just are. Did you know how to form your body? Did you sit in the womb and plan out the blueprints of your hands? Did you plot out every single thing that you do? Does a stream know how to flow? Sometimes you just have to accept that life just is. You don't have to know how to live, and modern society overcomplicates everything. The meaning of life is simply being alive, but people don't like that simple of an answer.
Yeah, but honestly, it's in plain sight. The meaning of life is life itself.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we try to complicate things as in overwork our brains as that simple of a question?
And that is the realization that you'll know once you, as I suggested earlier, remember death. Everything is a duality. Death implies living.
It does.
We're all going to die, and once you realize that truth, you'll understand the meaning of life. It's just living, being alive.
It really is.
And once you figure that out, you just kind of feel at peace. You're like, everything that I was doing to stress myself out just was something that basically someone else told me to do. School taught me to think this way. The media taught me to think this way. Peers taught me to think this way. You have to unlearn what society has taught you to be and realize what you truly are at your nature.
And about schooling real quick, as Mark Twain once said,
I never let my schooling interfere with my education.
Indeed.
I'm a high school dropout. I'm going to go back and get my GED, but honestly, I think pulling myself out of school and educating myself was the best move I could have made at that age.
Yeah, and I graduated high school.
I pulled myself out at 17.
Yeah. And
then I started studying philosophy and computers, and I started meditating every day because I finally had time. That's another thing. The modern society likes to distract us. It likes to keep us doing things, and we don't have time to just be and realize ourselves. We're always thinking about what has to be done next.
Yeah.
But life isn't about making little pieces of cotton paper with pictures of dead politicians on it.
Yeah, or
Just
trying.
saying that out loud sounds stupid.
It really does, but that's what it's become. Honestly,
That's why
currency itself.
I call it the mental illness of society.
It really is, and I don't see, now that I've learned a lot of this and experienced this for myself, I don't care for money, nor do I want it, nor do I like to have it. But in this society, we are forced to depend on it because we can't get anything for free and or help each other out just for the sake of that.
Altruism is dead.
Yes.
Society killed it. We can bring it back. But it's on life support. It's not dead.
Yeah,
it's on life support.
It's
because we've commodified everything.
We have,
and we need to stop doing that. We need to just see the beauty in everything, see the beauty in other people, stop objectifying the world, and just live it.
Just because someone brings upon negative energy or hate towards you doesn't mean you have to act the same way.
And don't reciprocate it.
No,
because you represent you. You don't represent
exactly. If you represent yourself with love, integrity, and just plain out, just love for all things in general, nature, life, and other people, even if they don't really like you, that's their opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, but you could still love them. Love them with all your being and just put out positive energy and vibes. That's all you need.
People
don't realize that.
People like to glorify fighting.
I don't like that.
They like to glorify overcoming the enemy. But what is the enemy besides your own mind? Once you've overcome that enemy, you realize that there is no enemy. The only way that you can defeat violence is with non-violence. The only way that you can defeat hatred is with love. The only way that you can defeat greed is with generosity.
Yeah.
You have to give those positive energies to defeat the negative energies. You can't fight fire with fire. You just create a bigger problem.
Yeah, it's a cycle. War. It's a cycle.
And that's the biggest loop that we as people need to get out of right now.
Really.
Realize the cycle of pessimism that we are in and create more of a vicious cycle of positivity. Follow my shameless advertisement. But
shame you, Kyle. Shame for self-advertisement. Shame on you.
Played off as a joke.
Yeah.
But the lesson is there, though. It's very important. We need to step out of this cycle.
I agree.
And it's perpetuated for far too long.
Yeah.
I think even Benjamin Franklin said every generation needs a revolution. And right now we've been holding on to these old ideologies and these
way too long.
These old grudges and these old vendettas and these old problems way too long. We brought this old system that no longer benefits us in a modern society. And we're gonna drag that into the present.
Yeah.
We need radical change and we need positive change.
We do. And it doesn't help for the way we live in modern society, for the cultural conditioning that we have been spoon-fed. Since we have been born out of the womb, basically.
One of my greatest eye-openers was just not watching the news or really following any media.
Yeah.
I don't watch TV, and that's why I'm not doing any more movie podcasts with Neil, because I haven't watched a movie properly in about a year. I don't consume media. I don't scroll through Facebook. I have a Facebook page that I make posts on, but I don't scroll through Facebook. I don't consume media because it's just trash. It's just a bunch of bullshit. We'll call it what it is.
Yeah, trash.
It's just a place where people spread this negativity. It's a place where people perpetuate this. Ironically, we are making a YouTube video and people are going to be consuming media watching this video.
But this is very educational. Yeah, there's a purpose for this.
There's truth out there. Law of attraction. Law of attraction applies to everything. If you seek depressing things online, they'll come to you. They'll find you. Everything that you do attracts the same energy. So if you're seeking negative things, if you're seeking depression quotes, if you're seeking depressing music, that's what the internet will feed you. But if you seek philosophy, if you seek wisdom, if you seek enlightenment, those things will find you. You just have to make that choice to look for it.
Yeah. Honestly. For cultural conditioning as well, another thing, we've been taught labels.
That's kind of a problem with the internet algorithm.
Oh. Especially YouTube.
It realizes that people are sad, it sees that people are watching depressing music videos when they're feeling sad, and it just goes, hey, you like this stuff, we're gonna give you more of that.
Hey, here's your own playlist for it. Boom.
Yeah, absorb more negative energies.
It's, as well as Spotify. Spotify does that too.
What is modern music?
Trash. Sadly, I hate to say that. I used to literally be like everyone else, listen to depressing stuff because it was just relatable. It really was.
It rewires your brain. It rewires your brain. I listen to beautiful instrumental music. Shout out to Thomas Bergerson, Lindsey Sterling, Adrian Von Ziegler, Yanni.
Oh yeah.
And I also love classic rock music. I love music that makes me feel good.
Positive.
Listen to music that's fun. Don't listen to music that makes you sit there and go, this is me.
Yeah. Listen to something that has
benefit
soul. Soul, like 80s. The 80s classic rock was actually a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Like, look, we got Twisted Sister, we had Foreigner, Journey,
Def Leppard.
Def Leppard.
Kansas.
Definitely Kansas. Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Heat of the Moment. One of their best songs.
Yep.
And that was fucking great.
And a Heart.
Yeah.
Amazing
definitely.
female band.
Ooh, definitely. Great vocalists.
Mhm.
Completely.
Kenny Loggins.
Definitely.
Like, listen to positive music. It'll make you feel happy.
Yeah. Like, I can listen to negative music like that, but only if really other people want to listen to it around me. I just block all that out and be like, okay.
Yeah, I can block it out because I'm not going to be that guy that's just going to go someplace and be like, hey, stop playing what you're playing. Like,
Let me put in the aux, man.
Like, I'm not an authoritarian person. Like, but at the same time, those vibrations really repel me.
Yeah. Modern music now has made a lot of people depressed.
Mm-hmm. And that's just another.
Yeah.
That's just another loop.
It is, and it's sad to say that it has done that.
But
modern music should be positive, enlightening to.
What they're really doing is they're just taking something that people find relatable,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, people find this relatable, and then they've stuck with it. They've repeated the same sound over and over and over again. It sounds so negative. It sounds so boring, and they're just people are buying into it because they don't know much else anymore in today's society, sadly.
It is,
and they all, as they do, as I said, we've covered it. They find it relatable, and I've seen like some people, they'll listen to like depressing rap songs when they're down, and they walk around like, I'm just like, I'm sitting here jamming to rock music. Come on, have fun. You pull yourself out of that. Defeat the negativity with positivity.
Yeah. But I do understand that other artists that are like that, singing out those depressing songs, they're not trying to make it depressing, really, but yet they are at the same time. It's kind of weird. It goes like, hand in hand, but
I can't really.
They're trying to express themselves honestly. They are, because I can understand that, but in a way, it should, in my opinion, end in a positive note. That you've come so far and now you're here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Not trying to down anyone for that.
Yeah, I can't really make any conclusions about intention. I'd say there are some people out there that are just like, hey, I'm taking a paycheck. But,
yeah, but
that's just an assumption. I can't assume things.
I will say that for some people, some artists, they just use music, of course, as a therapy thing, and then that's why they have what they have now.
Yeah, I can't speak for their motivations because I don't know.
Yeah.
But like as I said, like if they're an influencer, if I feel like they should realize how their music is affecting people and be like, hey, I'm going to take the responsibility to make a happy album.
Yeah.
Make some feel good music again. We need that. Music. The music we consume, and music is one of those universally loved things.
Yes.
Like, people might not like the same genres of music, but
music in general.
Yeah, I've never met a person that says I hate music.
Yeah.
I've never met someone who says that.
Neither have I, actually.
So yeah, I think music is kind of universally loved.
Yeah, now that I realize, I never actually could think of like spot on, like if I met anyone that has hated music, just maybe a different genre or different things about it.
I'm not a fan of rap music or modern country music or modern pop music for sure, but like old pop music and even disco. I love disco.
Of course you do. I know you do, Kyle.
Look at me.
He's Kyle, everyone. Basically. But yeah.
Like the music that we consume really does affect us. Music is designed to affect people psychologically. the main reason that people find the horror movies frightening is because of the music they use. And if you go to my channel, I actually did an experiment. I made a video called Making Pictures of Cats Creepy, where I just zoomed in slowly on their faces and I added in creepy music.
It kind of actually worked for me.
Yeah,
the first time he showed it to me, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, like
especially with the cats.
Yeah, some people were like, they're cute pictures of cats, why is it unsettling? It's effective. Music affects us psychologically.
Yeah, if you use it right, it can really trigger something in the brain. Be like, hey, I don't know how I feel about this. This looks uneasy.
Yeah.
It's an uneasy feeling you get. I think that's another why a lot of people like horror movies too. Because I love horror movies too, because they want to somewhat feel that unsettlingness. Like, I don't know how to really explain that.
Actually. Like, growing up, Halloween was my favorite time of year.
We just had that.
I would nerd out. Like, I would go to like stores like Menards, and I'd go to the Halloween section and I'd just be like,
Menards. Menards Halloween section.
Like the faces that I would make at Halloween sections. Like, even today I do this.
Yeah. He's like, ooh, this is nice.
Like people will look at me. People will look at me, a grown ass man, acting like a kid when I go to stores during Halloween. And there's nothing wrong with that. Be you.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Like, I will walk into stores, find the Halloween section, just look at all the costumes, and I'll find like a big blow-up pumpkin head man, and I'll just be like, oh, it's awesome.
Right? Halloween is literally my version of Christmas, in my opinion, of how I grew up, since my family has been a horror movie family since I've been like the age of 4.
And I didn't watch many like childhood stuff growing up. Like, growing up, my
your parents were like really.
I was the most unsheltered kid. My childhood TV show was The Simpsons and Family Guy and action movies, like really R-rated action movies was my childhood. But like, some fond memories I have of me, like between the ages of like 9 and 12, was watching the Goosebumps movie marathons during Halloween.
Yes, those were fucking great. Like, the books were better, of course.
Yeah, even though they're not great productions, they spoke Halloween.
They really did. It was just creepy, and especially for how like young you were at the time. Like, ooh, this gives me an eerie, creepy vibe. Like, ooh, that's weird, but I like it.
Like, even though the acting might not be that great, and even though like the effects might not always be that great, and they're not great productions, they exude the vibration of Halloween, and you can't help but love it.
Yeah. For all those people who love Halloween as much as us,
shout out to you.
Yes. We love you. We love you all, but still. Yes.
I love all of you.
Indeed. I love all of you as well. I may not know you, I may not know what you're going through. I hope this really helps, though.
If people might be out there saying, you don't even know me, but if people can hate for no reason, you can love.
Indeed.
And there's a reason for that. Because you're amazing.
As Keanu Reeves has said multiple times, you're breathtaking. I love that man.
I love Keanu.
He's been through so much. But back to cultural conditioning.
Yes.
Another Sorry about that.
But I hope you
get the ideas.
I want to do.
We are speaking.
Yeah, I want to do a lot more podcast stuff like this, because like in gaming videos, I have fun making them, but I actually people will notice if they watch my channel, I talk a lot more doing something like this.
Oh yeah.
Because in a gaming video, you're just kind of talking about the game. You're making jokes about what's happening in the game. When you're just talking and you have someone with you, conversation can go anywhere. it's the place where my personality shines.
But really, especially with two people who grew up completely different, basically, and have completely different personalities, look at basically Mark and Ethan, honestly, and their honest videos they do, that is literally about to be taken down here soon, sadly. It's been almost a year. But look at them. Look at any other people, every two YouTubers or two people that you like, that actually kind of feed off each other's humor, basically.
We've got to start a channel like that, except we won't delete it.
No, we won't delete it. We won't.
But we'll just do some random stuff and we'll record it.
And we actually have an idea for it, but we're not going to say it at this point. It's for a surprise.
Mm-hmm. It's the surprise.
It's a surprise. But cultural conditioning has always affected everyone without even you realizing it. Completely.
Yeah, it goes under the radar a lot of the times.
All the time.
Yeah.
All of the time. And you don't realize it until
Well, not all the time, because we're here.
Yeah, well, us, but I'm
and
saying,
a lot of people.
Yeah, and a lot of people, but we haven't realized it until, like, you know, when we have.
Yeah, and like, also, it's never like an ego-stroking thing for me. Like, I always tell people, it's not something superhuman that I've accomplished. I just kind of remembered what I already knew.
Yeah.
We always knew this stuff. It just gets buried.
Yeah, it gets blocked by this static of the modern culture that we have.
Everyone's capable of transcending.
Indeed. Honestly, look at me. I didn't think I would be able to, or think in a certain positive way that.
Yeah, that's the biggest roadblock.
Honestly,
that's the biggest.
I didn't
roadblock.
think, but
Yeah.
here I am.
I'm talking over you. I'm sorry.
No.
But doubt is the biggest roadblock, and that was the biggest roadblock for me. Even like it took me a while. I was just kind of like, I feel like I have this figured out, but do I? And then just asking that question would send me down this thought rabbit hole of trying to figure everything out again, and I would it was a loop. Like doubt will fuck us up if we have it. We gotta surrender doubt. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. That's another quote that I love. And like that doubt stopped you. You were like, oh, I don't think I can do this. Mm-hmm. But as I said, everyone has that potential. It's already within you. You're not obtaining something new. You're just letting go of what doesn't positively serve you.
Yeah. The same thing goes.
It's just letting yourself come back. You're realizing your potential and you're coming back into reality.
Also doubting yourself for like, you're also in a way saying, you're doubting yourself in a way of saying, hey, I'm going to try this. If you say you're going to try it and it never gets done, it really never gets done. You're kind of selling yourself up there. But if you basically say, hey, I'm going to do this, and you do it and start taking action, that's progress. No matter how small it is that you've done, that say, I don't know, I'm going to do the dishes when I get home.
Confidence.
Or might.
Confidence does help.
It really does. Even if you do a little bit of those dishes, like not a whole lot. You don't even have to do all of them. Just a little bit if you want. Just to get it out a little bit out of the way, like, hey, progress. Be proud of the progress you all have made for anything and through life itself.
Yes, definitely.
Here in the moment is what it matters.
And also, it kind of comes back to acceptance, because you want to be confident in setting your intention, but you also don't want to hold on to an expectation, because sometimes things don't work out.
Yeah, that's true.
Things have been setting me back a lot here and there. I recently got my license, and
the first time you tried to go do that?
The first time I went to go take my test, I had a tire blowout on the highway on the way to take my test, and I pulled into someone's driveway. Had to spend the money that I had to pay for the license to go get my tire changed, and I had to go to BioLife again, donate plasma.
Just to get the money.
Currently unemployed. And then I got my license, and the day after I got my license, I hit a deer.
And now
I have to change a headlight.
Yep.
Life will fuck you up, but hey, I'm making a joke out of it because
hey, it's funny to think of now.
Yeah, I'm going with that flow because things will happen, and you just have to accept it. It is what it is.
It could have been worse.
Yeah,
the tire could have been worse.
Mm-hmm.
Getting hit by that deer basically could have been worse.
Yeah.
Than what the headlight would have been. Basically, he's alive, and he's.
I didn't crash when I had my tire blow out.
He said calm. He's like, oh, well, this is happening.
I literally looked out the window as I saw rubber fly past the window. I'm like, that's probably bad.
Like, maybe I should pull over.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Maybe it's nothing.
Yeah, like, failure, extinguish that from your vocabulary. Failure is just success in progress. Because if you keep trying and you don't let yourself get down, you'll get there eventually. Progress is still progress.
Indeed.
And even the guy that, like, I pulled into this guy's driveway after I, like, had my tire blow out, and he comes out and he checked out my car for me. He was really, really nice. He helped me out. He even went and, like, helped me change the tire and get the boot on, the spare that I had.
Thankfully.
Yeah, he helped me with that.
He was very kind and generous.
And he was like, well, You had your first tire blowout, you didn't panic, and you didn't crash. You passed your test in my book. I was like, thank you, positive sir.
Honestly, that would be a positive test, honestly. If that had to happen on driver's test nowadays in modern society, I feel like that would...
If I was a driving instructor, I'd pass me.
I think anyone would pass you if you calmly did that. Honestly, you're like, hey, good job, you didn't panic, and you're like, oh, well, you handled the situation right. But this has been great, and
I hope you learned things.
Yes. If you have learned things and have any more questions, please feel free to comment all the questions, and we shall answer them in videos.
Yes.
And when the words, they may not be said like all the time, or well, I should say, regularly said or posted videos of them, all of them, but majority of them will be said, of course, and we shall do videos on them as well.
Yes, and this is Chance's channel, even though I think statistically I did most of the talking.
A little bit, and I've helped giving you a little seat of the row as my first guest.
Yeah.
Of questioning and giving you a little bit of your experience of who you are.
Round of applause for Chance for being the best interviewer.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Because that's not a round of applause, but that's a small little clap.
Just get in there.
But yeah, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe.
Yeah. Subscribe to Chance's channel if you want to check out my channel. I have a channel, it's called The Kylor Show, and we'll leave a link to that, and also Vicious Cycle of Positivity, the philosophy page that I have on Facebook. There's probably over 300 posts on there now. If you scroll through all of it, you basically got an entire philosophy book. It's an entire philosophy book that I have written in installments over the course of a couple of years.
Yeah, that's a lot.
As I made my journey. In fact, I actually recently scrolled to the bottom of the page. And it was interesting to see how much I've grown.
Yeah.
That first post is still really good. It was actually a quote by Alan Turing, and I was talking about, letting go of the concept of violence, how it's primitive, basically.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about as well.
And, I'm that's a good point still, but if you scroll from the top to the bottom, the bottom to the top is what I meant to say there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of growth throughout the time that I made that page.
It's a personal blog.
It's basically, it's a personal blog of the stuff that I've been doing, my journey into mindfulness and self-discovery and meditation and philosophy and realizing things. There's lots of different posts from different philosophers like Rumi, Friedrich Nietzsche, Carl Jung, Alan Watts, Buddha, lots of Buddha quotes.
Yeah, Confucius,
lots of different stuff. And I always write out a bunch of my own interpretation. I write a lot of personal stories about me. There's quite a bit there.
Yeah, and thank you, Kyle, for coming on to this podcast, especially for the very first episode. I really enjoy the time I've gotten to express and hope to educate you as well as Kyle to educate you.
And I hope to be in multiple more episodes.
Oh, yes, of course. And I shall try to get others as well into my podcast at some point in time. May not know and don't have an exact schedule yet, but in due time, it will come. Alright, thank you, and I hope you all have a lovely day.
We love you.
I love you.
Hello everybody, Editing Kyle here. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Outsider Stranded. If you did, please subscribe to Chance's channel. And now, because I can, I'm going to edit in our microphone audio test.
It also lags. So there we go, now it's recording.
Yeah.
Say stuff.
Stuff.
Stuff. Words.
I'm kind of terrified of words.
Yeah, me too. Maybe we shouldn't do this.
I don't know. Nipples sound good right about now.
Yeah. Okay, we got this.
Okay, yeah, we got this. It's good. Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Outsider Stranded again, and if you haven't noticed, Kyle, he's back. Second episode, everyone. Woo! Root up for round 2, I guess. Or second episode. Kyle, why are you waving? Hi. Kyle! Roll the intro.
In a minute.
Okay, gotcha. Boom.
Welcome to Outsider Stranded. Here's your host, Chance Clark.
I hope you're all doing well. Again, I'm your host, Chance Clark, and here is Kyle as my
Your honorary co-host.
Your honorary co-host. Yes, actually.
Yeah.
And
you're listening to Outsiders Stranded.
Thank you. Thank you for your deep voice. It's very sexy.
Thank you.
Indeed it is, everyone.
I'm majestic.
In your own way, yes you are.
Yeah.
But anyway, today we are on the discussion of meditation and how it can help you, and as well as to help you with personal troubles, honestly. It's helped me a lot, as well as Kyle, completely. He's the one that actually introduced me into meditation.
I've done multiple different types of guided meditation with Chance.
He has, and it's personally really helped me a lot through all my daily struggles.
So something I'm curious to hear about. How would you say that it has impacted you?
Honestly,
if you could give me a description, a review.
Honestly, in my opinion, yes, words don't express it enough. But if I had to express it with words, I would say it has greatly improved and impacted my life for myself, as well as I would hope to say for others around me that I'm around for work, around Kyle, my girlfriend even, who lives with me, my family members. They've seen improvements of positivity and mental health, honestly. It's, like I said, a little hard to explain with words, but to try to find with that is...
When the mind is silent, your consciousness expands, and it's more of a feeling, and just a sort of knowing rather than a thinking.
Yeah, I agree. And that silence really helps. I used to...
The stillness of being in a state of is.
Yes. The state of being is really interesting. Such as...
And that was kind of the revelation that I had after I reached my awakening. Like, it actually took me a few days to sort of put my thoughts together. I was like, what is this thing I'm feeling? And I was just like, it just is. I'm more thinking it. I'm trying to figure out something that is just an existence.
It's simple. It's there. It's already in front of us. Such as what we talked about in the first episode.
I got coffee.
Coffee is really helpful. Such as we talked about the meaning of life and how so simple it is that people just overlook it. The meaning of life, as we talked about, is life itself.
Mm-hmm.
Being. Is, technically.
You know, coffee was very likely the reason for the European Enlightenment. Shout out to Matt Pat.
Yeah, shout out to Matt Pat. He's a great guy. I love all the theory channels. Honestly, I love them all. They're great. And, of course, coffee is a really better alternative than most.
The coffee bean is my spirit animal.
It really is. He drinks and consumes coffee more than he does oxygen at this point. Honestly, if you have to live with him the way I do, yeah, he consumes more coffee than oxygen at this point.
Basically.
But anyway, how meditation has really helped me and my spiritual awakening as well as my personal life. It has dramatically helped and increased my mentality of positivity and love for everyone and everything. And just be grateful for what I have, even if it's not much, for the little things I have and just being alive.
Are you able to feel that interconnected oneness?
Yes,
like
especially with myself. Yes.
You start to see yourself in everything.
Indeed.
Because we're all just energy. We're condensed consciousness experiencing the universe through an eye, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's how I feel, and it's a very strong feeling. I'm full of wind.
Full of wind on that one, Kyle.
But like I'm able to put my hand on a tree and feel like there is no difference between myself and the tree.
I agree. Because we all, in a way of a circle, a cycle, we all get that nutrition that those...
No, it's not even that.
Yeah,
we're just all made of the same stuff.
Yeah.
The universe is conscious. I believe in panpsychism. because I'm able to sort of feel it. It's hard to explain how I feel it.
Yeah.
I just kind of can. And you realize that you're just made out of the same stardust and atoms and everything else is. You realize that everything is just a frequency, a vibration. And then once you realize that, you realize there's no separation between you and anything.
And I'm not completely the way at where he is at in his personal spiritual journey, which is okay. There's no set bar, there's no set limit. It's just an entire journey. It never ends, honestly.
Yeah,
it never does.
I have personally got as far as I have so fast because I took like an entire year or more only to work on myself. I've been surviving on plasma money that I donate plasma to BioLife and I get 70 a week, and I've been surviving on that.
Yeah, and that's technically barely, because healthy food costs a lot. It really does,
and
especially if you want to improve yourself and improve your health. That really helps you.
And I eat exclusively healthy food.
Yeah, and he eats like no tomorrow. His body literally condenses in everything he eats and uses all that energy, and it goes nowhere. It goes nowhere.
I'm 5'9". I weigh 129 pounds. But like I'm solid muscle because I do a lot of fitness and exercise.
He does.
And my metabolism is like fuel, and then my wallet is like, yeah, we can't afford that. So every once in a while I have to just do some water fasting and just kind of meditate and slack off with my exercising a little bit, and then I'll get food and I'll jump right back into it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a eat fast kind of cycle for me right now.
Yes, indeed. Before I started this spiritual
Cushion's moving.
Well,
my life just flashed before my eyes again.
Maybe the way you sit.
Yes, probably. I sit in the
of most absurd ways.
I sit in the lotus position. Chances. I can't actually sit in the full lotus position though, just because my legs don't work that way. I'm not that flexible. I do practice some yoga, but I don't know how people are able to get their foot up on their leg and then their other foot up on their other leg without breaking all their femur.
Actually, I can do that surprisingly enough.
I can't. Maybe I'm just too long-limbed.
You and your Marfan syndrome.
Yeah, Marfan syndrome.
Which is a funny thing he has.
Compare our hand sizes. I've got some long spider fingers. Check this out.
Like, notice. Split up a little bit. Yeah. That's like at least a half an inch almost, basically. More than mine. And yes, I got small hands. I'm fine with it.
Thumb and pinky and just put that around my wrist there.
Mine can barely get there as is. Barely.
Well, I can almost touch my knees while standing up straight. I've got the long Marfan limbs.
You do. You do. It's interesting, I will say.
It's actually the reason my chest probably caved in. I talked about that in the last episode.
Indeed you did. When I pointed to your wounds.
It was the presenter.
Yes. If you haven't watched the last video, go ahead.
You'll catch up on that.
Yeah, you'll catch up on that eventually. Honestly. But, back to the topic at hand. Honestly.
Which hand?
My hands, I guess. I don't know. I guess I'm the host.
Yeah. You got this.
Thank you. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. My hands.
You know, why do they call them fingers? I've never seen them thing.
Stop this. Stop. Just stop. No, I deal with this 24/7, Kyle. Why?
He's not wrong. I'm just always like this.
My bones are made out of fingers. But anyway, sorry about that. All seriousness.
Why?
I'm not sure why. That's a good question.
You figured it out.
Yeah.
You've answered your own question.
Indeed.
We all have the power to answer our own questions.
We do.
Just have to meditate and look inside the silent mind. The truth is there.
Indeed.
Before the 5D awareness.
Yes, the 5D awareness.
Kundalini.
Oh, god damn.
I'm getting into complicated stuff, though. We'll take it easy.
Yeah, we'll talk about Kundalini another video. Honestly, that's a whole video to discuss itself.
Yeah. That's a powerful feeling.
Yeah, Kyle, thanks.
I sort of walked him through a Kundalini meditation even before he was ready.
Accidentally, Kyle.
Yeah.
But that was my own choice, though, too.
Yeah.
Honestly, it really was. So I do have a part in that.
Because
I can take responsibility for that. It's fine.
if you do it right, your mind will start processing information
Differently.
very, very quickly. It's hard to explain how it feels, but you're in this sort of state of just 5D awareness, and when you're there, and then you go back out into society, it's very hard to interact with people.
Yeah, to socialize, it's even, honestly.
Because, like, even now...
It's hard to relate to others.
It's
even more.
Yeah, it's made me become more of an introvert because I can't get involved in a lot of things that is a basic staple of conversation. I can't...
Small talk.
I can't do small talk. I can't do... Like, my conversation has to be big. It has to be engaging. It has to be meaning behind it. I like philosophical talk.
There has to be a thought process with it.
If it's just small talk, like if somebody just walks in and just goes, "Hey, man, how's the weather?" I'm gonna get bored really quick.
Yeah, I'm like, you're not just going to answer, honestly.
And I can't do gossip because the whole time I just look at people and like, you don't know. Why are you judging? Come on, don't do this. You're hurting yourself more than anything.
honestly, that's how it is.
So like after I reached that like point, and I went back out into society, I came back a little bit and I was just like, what are we doing? I had to recollect again.
That is a good question. What are we doing? That is a big question everyone always asks themselves, but also doesn't, I guess, fully understand what they mean by that.
Yeah.
Even though they know what it means, but yet they don't know.
Yeah. Like
it's a weird contradiction in a way.
People know the intuition is there. It's just people have been taught to disregard that intuition. They've been cultural conditioned into the state they're in. Now anytime that higher self is up there saying, maybe you shouldn't talk about other people behind their back and judge and do all this other stuff. People go, yeah. It's sad.
And we've also talked about cultural conditioning in the first episode. So if you want to learn more about that, go ahead and watch the other one, so you can understand more.
But meditation is to sort of come back to the moment. It is to focus your awareness, and it is to become more aware of your thoughts. A common misconception about meditation is that it is about stopping thinking. You can't truly stop thinking. It is a flow. There's the flow of time, and then there's the mind flow. It just does its own thing. Like, try to predict what you think about next.
Honestly, I really can't.
Yeah, like, the thoughts that we have, we identify with them instinctually, the right word there, and we follow them. It says, I feel this.
Ego.
And yeah, the I is the name the ego calls itself when pretending to be you. So people, they follow that thought train, they go, yes, and they log in, and they focus on that, and they follow that thought train. And it really clouds our clarity of mind, because we're always getting pulled in different directions by our thoughts, and it gets to a point where people think that they are their thoughts.
But they aren't.
But they're not. Like, if your thoughts were you wouldn't be able to go against them. Yeah. Like, everyone's had a negative thought. Everyone's been in a situation where they're frustrated and been like, oh, I could, and then they don't. If you were your thoughts, you wouldn't have that power. You are the observer of your thoughts.
And you have that power to either let it bother you or to take that action as well with it.
And that is what meditation is about. It is expanding the consciousness and creating a gap between you and your thoughts.
Yeah.
My thoughts are just always sort of in the back of my mind doing their own thing. I've reached a point where I can just be completely still, but in the back of my mind, my thoughts are just flowing like the clouds in the sky, going and fading and disappearing. Sometimes important ones will pop up and be like, hey, I thought I should bring this to your attention, and I'll go, thank you. And it will go, okay, bye.
Right?
Like, and that really helps.
It really does. Now, for me, in my personal journey with meditation, beforehand, honestly, to start off with it, literally it was my life felt really terrible in my opinion, but that was because of my mind, of how it perceived many of different things, such as like the music I was listening to, the people I was around, honestly, as well as not enjoying the time of aloneness. In my own mindset, and the way my mindset was at the time, was really terrible. I was very depressed. Kyle has seen me through that, actually. And
I'm glad I was able to help as much as
honestly,
I'm really glad I did.
Yeah, because I don't know how much I would have been able to take. I could have taken a lot more, but who knows? That's then, this is now, honestly. That's the past, I can't change it.
Yeah. That's a good thing to keep in mind also. Forgive yourself for the past. It's not changeable. All you can do is accept it and move on and be better. You can always grow, but you can never change what's already happened.
Indeed.
Time does not work that way.
Yeah. And I was always stuck in my head, which is not a bad thing. But the bad thing about it is if you're listening to your thoughts and letting them get to you, is what it was getting to me and making me even more depressed, especially thinking about what was on the news or what was going on in life in general, or like worrying about, oh, my paycheck's not going to be good this week, and I'm stressing out about work. I need to take time off, but I need money though.
And that is a huge part of it. The system keeps us doing rather than being, and people always find these things that grab their attention. It's designed to be addictive, and people consume it. They consume this information, I say, because most of it just doesn't have anything to do with anything, Like, there's a quote that says, "A lie is halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its pants."
Yeah.
And getting out the door. Like, false information spreads so fast now, and honestly, the very first step in my awakening was sort of just observing how people have this herd mentality, and I would see it in school, and I eventually just realized that I was much happier just kind of doing my own thing and not going with the crowd. And I cut out media, I stopped watching TV, I stopped scrolling through the Facebook homepage, and I started working on my own thing on Vicious Cycle of Positivity. Like, I just cut media as far out of my life as possible. I still love YouTube videos, but I watch positive creators.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't really listen to modern music.
Yeah.
I love movies, but I don't watch many of them. If you've watched Reactaholics podcast, you'll know that. They're like, "Hey Kyle, what's your opinion on this movie?" I'm like, "I don't have one."
I don't know what this is. I didn't know it existed until now. Even though it existed before I was born, well, here it is. It existed just now to me.
It was really cool. It was really cool. I got to meet John Bailey, but I did not belong in that podcast.
Yes.
I didn't know what I was talking about.
Honestly, you were just there for the ride.
Yeah, Neil was like, "Hey, you want to be in this?" And I was like,
"Sure, I guess."
I like being in things.
Yeah, honestly, you're just like given an opportunity, like, "Hey, want to be in this?" And you're like, "Yeah, why not? I guess." Yeah. Just go with the flow, honestly. But meditation has greatly improved my well-being and mentality as to forgive myself for my past mistakes, for even in what I would assume would happen to a lot of people, such as like if you think a past relationship was your fault and you don't end up forgiving yourself for a while or even at all, that really sticks with people. Or even say a family member's death has affected you and to a certain point where you think it's your fault. That mentality stays with you, but you can overachieve that and pass that. And honestly, it's not your fault. Things happen for a reason, and you are responsibility for your own happiness. Everyone else is responsible for their own happiness. Everyone should come together collectively and with positive and happiness of themselves to create a positivity.
They say hindsight is 20/20, and that makes a lot of sense, because I think one of the main reasons people beat themselves up is because
it's kind of the if I knew then what I know now situation. People will learn something.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, if I had known this, I could have helped better. And then they'll be like, oh, why didn't I do something? But the simple truth is, you didn't know what you know now.
Yeah.
You have to forgive yourself, because even though many people view it as a bad word, we all are ignorant to something.
Honestly.
You gain more understanding when you accept that you really know very little about what's going on in the world. You see the world through limited perception. You're always in sort of the body. You're experiencing from a perspective. You're not experiencing things from everyone else's perspective. You're not omniscient. You can't always know if someone else is going through a hard time, and you like beat yourself up. You're like, oh, I should have helped them, or I should have done something different in this situation. But we're perfect imperfections. We can't do everything right all the time.
We really
And
can't.
we need to not beat ourselves up for that so much.
Indeed. And just because you say, oh, what I know now could have helped in the past, that's past. You can't change it. That's what you're saying.
That's retrospective knowledge. People need to remember that they didn't know.
Yeah. And the more, and you understand that it's already done, it's over with. The here in the moment, the here and now, at this exact moment, is where it counts the most.
Yeah. Right
not
now.
In the future, not in the past, because that's already been done and dealt with. Here, now, at this exact moment, is what counts.
You will never experience anything beyond this moment. Like, you can think, oh yeah, that moment's already passed. Yeah, it has, but now it's still this moment. Yeah. This moment, that moment, past, future, yesterday, tomorrow, they're all relative terms. There is nothing outside of this moment.
Indeed.
This moment is the only time a choice can be made. This moment can be the inauguration of great spontaneous choices. People overthink, or they just don't know something, and then it can all kind of fall apart in the mind would like to beat you up for it.
Yeah.
Like right now, I have made the conscious choice to go get more coffee real quick.
Indeed.
Jets, you have the con.
Thank you. Now,
Star Trek reference.
Yes, indeed.
I'm a nerd.
That's okay. Alright, now that's Kyle leaving for coffee, which is fine. So, basically, let's get into the thing of the whole mindset ordeal. Now, I have some bullet points, some topics through meditation that can help if people are wanting to learn to meditate or how to help themselves with it. Now, one of them is, should I start in total silence or use a guided meditation? Like, should you start right away by yourself and only I shouldn't say for yourself, sorry about that, but basically start in silence or use a guided meditation to help you. It's always good to find what you're comfortable with. If you think you might need a guide on, say, a website or YouTube or someone who you may know that might help, like I have Kyle that can help me or has helped me in the past, which I do my own meditations now.
It's good to sort of get a baseline of how to meditate. Somebody who has helped me a lot, not directly, I don't think I've ever really had like a sit-down guided meditation face-to-face with somebody, but Muji, Muji's channel. He's a great teacher, an amazing teacher.
And I listen to him too. Kyle introduced me to some of his work, actually.
I love Muji.
Him and Sadhguru, actually.
Sadhguru, Eckhart Tolle.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Also, I love Russell Brand.
Yes. He has been quite on a really big spiritual journey for a while, actually.
Yeah.
And he's really changed a lot from his former self, honestly, completely. So he's forgiven himself, like all that stuff. That's very admirable. It really is.
I love Russell.
It really is.
But there are people that I've like looked towards, philosophers, people like Muji, Russell, Eckhart Tolle, Sadhguru.
Yeah.
There's people that I've looked to for
and increasing for like better understanding, so that I can kind of be like, oh yeah, I'm doing this right, or hey, that I can pick this up. That's something I can learn. But ultimately, it is going inside your own mind, doing the meditation, embodying those life lessons, and experiencing it for yourself.
Yeah. Like,
so I'm glad I was able to kind of get to that point. Like, it's easy to watch a video and go, I get it now, and then you just go outside and you immediately get caught up in your thoughts again.
Yeah. It takes time. It really does.
And it takes dedication and effort.
Yes. And it's okay. It's not a fast progress. Take your time. Do what you feel is right. It's not a beginning and end process. There's no end to it. There's only beginning and how much progress you make.
And also, I think while you're doing
progress is great.
I honestly think while you're doing it, it's best to sort of even set aside your intention.
Yeah.
Like, you need to become as empty in the mind as possible, and as distant from your thoughts as possible, and as distant from concepts as possible. Because if you're too focused on what you're going to gain from meditation, which is nothing, you're going to lose the things that are no longer positively affecting you. And you're not gaining a new layer of consciousness. That awareness is always there. It's just buried in the noise.
Yeah. Now,
like Buddha was asked, what have you gained from meditation? He said, nothing. But I'll tell you what I've lost. He said, anxiety. I can't remember the entire quote, but he said anxiety, depression, I think, was on the list. He said fear of death.
Yeah, fear of death was a big one, actually.
It's about losing the things that are negatively affecting you. And when you set aside that intention, you're just fully immersed in the isness of the experience. Like, meditation should be fun.
Yes.
If you're too busy thinking about the intention, you're just living in the future again. That's a kind of sneaky thing that can happen. Like, people try to meditate, but they're too focused on, I want to reach enlightenment. Like, they're holding on to this concept and they're thinking about getting somewhere. If you're doing that, you're not meditating properly. It's very, very, it's simple. It's so simple, but the mind is so complicated that it sabotages you very easily.
Yeah.
Because if you're holding on to an intention, or if you start thinking things like, even if you say to yourself in your mind, I'm meditating, throw that thought out. It's distracting you.
It is. Just be is. That really helps.
And a great technique that I've learned to be able to do that, and the way that I kind of honed it, is listening to music. I can meditate, and I love meditating in silence now, but when you're listening to music, it sort of grounds you a little bit.
It really does.
Because in silence, it's easy to start thinking about things. When you're listening to music, you're just in it for the experience of the music, especially if you enjoy the music. So it helps you ground a little bit when you're listening to it. Mm-hmm. And then it also just helps your thoughts to kind of do their own thing. Like, yeah, I like to walk while listening to music, and even though your mind is doing its thing, like, it will naturally label things. It'll do this, it'll do that, but just kind of walk and flow and separate yourself from the thoughts. If your mind labels something, just be like, concepts aren't real, everything just is. And then throw out the word is, and just...
Yeah. Honestly, it really helped me a lot. It's helped Kyle tremendously, and I've seen this, and I've seen a decent amount of what he's gone through, honestly. I haven't seen exactly 100% 24 hours a day of what his life goes through, but I know enough.
And Chance will tell you, like, I just don't get angry.
Yeah, he just doesn't. Especially for the last few years anymore, honestly. He used to, what was it? He used to be very depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in high school.
I used to be depressed if somebody was like...
And used humor to cope with a lot of things.
It was kind of a good thing, but there was still that deep depression deep down. Like, I at least didn't start taking things out on other people. I filtered my pain through humor.
Yeah.
I became like the world's biggest smartass for a while.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
I once had somebody message me to hang out, and they were just like, "Hey, are you gonna be free this weekend?" And I said, "I don't know about free, but I can at least try to get you the friends and family discount." And they were like, "Well, is it okay if I come pick you up?" And I was just like, "Well, if you can lift over 130 pounds, that's fine. It's not, that's quite difficult." Like, Kyle, when will you ever give me a straight answer? Whenever I run out of lesbian answers. I could just keep it going.
You can. He could, like, literally. He still can to this day. But he doesn't do it as a smart ass.
Yeah.
He does it for the fun of it, the jokes, but he's not really a smart ass anymore, honestly. He's like, he knows he doesn't know everything.
Yeah, I've chilled. But
a lot.
But I mean, I still have that smart ass comedy, but I like to include people in the joke. I don't just fuck with them all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do just for fun.
Like me, since you live with me.
Yeah, it's fun every once in a while. I still do it, but it's not for the same reason. Like before, I was just kind of filtering my pain through humor, so people wouldn't try to get involved and ask me, "Hey, are you okay?" all the time. You know, like I wanted that isolation.
Yeah.
So that I could figure out what was going on. But I'm glad I got there because I used to be very, very depressed, and I also used to be fighty if people tried to control me. And then I realized that control is just another illusion.
Yeah. I used to have, when I was a lot younger.
Because I had a big rebellious stage.
I think all of us have at least done that at least once.
I did,
honestly.
And I don't think being a rebel is necessarily a bad thing. You just you have to do it peacefully. You have to stand up for what you believe in, but
angrily.
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
Yeah, I call it becoming a peaceful and all-loving rebel.
Yeah,
because you can say, no, this is wrong, I'm not doing this, without insulting their intelligence or attacking them personally or doing all that stuff that some people resort to these days.
Oh, yeah, more common than anything. It's like literally a conversation that comes on to every single person now.
It does really seem like we've gotten to a point in society where even if your opinion differs from other people, you'll have like a giant demographic of somebody else going, "You're stupid!"
But why do we have to insult each other when we can just accept another's opinion because that's their opinion?
And why do we even have the concept of demographic?
Honestly,
it's better to belong to the whole of existence than to belong to a separatist tribe, clan, ideology, country. Countries aren't real, they're human-made concepts. We're just living on a giant space rock.
Such as borders, what we were talking about last episode.
We're just living on a giant space rock hurtling through space.
And in a rotation, and we're just beings of this planet.
We have forgotten this truth. And even if we know this truth, we tell ourselves things like, well, this is the world we live in, we can't change it. I hear that all the time. I hear people go, yeah, you're right, but we can't do anything about it. And I said, people have forgotten the power of boycotting. Like, the people in power only have the power they do because we have let them.
Yeah. Honestly.
I don't agree with, like, violent overthrowing of things. But I will say one of my favorite movies is V for Vendetta.
Oh, that's such a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it is. I love it. It's great.
People should not be afraid of their governments. The government should be afraid of their people.
Honestly.
Because they wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for people.
It was made for the people, by the people.
The Dalai Lama said, "This world does not belong to leaders, it belongs to all of humanity."
It really does.
It belongs to the universe, it belongs to the animals, it belongs to the plants. It's just...
we don't own any of it.
Ownership is another illusion we tell ourselves.
Labels is an illusion. They're just there for us to differentiate each and everything.
And meditation is really great for dissolving these illusions because...
it really is.
When you're meditating, you distance yourself from the thoughts. These concepts are thoughts. And when you distance yourself, you return to that deep, understanding truth that is just so plainly obvious and out there for us to observe. But we're always labeling and doing what the cultural conditioning has taught us to do, and we're like, we're going to label that and that. We're going to draw an invisible line in the sand here, and we're going to put a sign that says, "Welcome to Indiana."
But for either total silence or a guided meditation, you can do total silence and do that. You can read up on it, that's fine. Guided meditations also help. You can find them on multiple different sites such as YouTube, and as the people we have talked about as well already.
That's this platform.
Yeah, that's basically for this platform as well, on this YouTube. But as well, even if you, like you said, music, it helps. even if you want to listen to the naturist sounds.
I love rain sounds.
The rain sounds, storms, like where you can find like that on YouTube. That's a live thing, or just a full, like, I don't know, a 3-hour video. You don't even have to meditate for 3 hours.
Yeah.
As long as it gets you to calm and empty your mind, and lets you just let your mind not wander, but
just
empty.
Yeah.
Basically.
Just let it kind of go.
Just let it go. Thoughts
will pop up, but don't let them distract you.
Exactly. Such as
your mind.
Thoughts.
Your mind will wander. Mm-hmm. You just don't need to log into it.
Indeed. And we've talked about this before. Think of those negative emotions or that past that your mind brings up, because those thoughts aren't you. If they bring themselves to your attention, just literally when they bring to your attention right here, accept them, acknowledge them, and say, I've already dealt with that. It's done. That was the past.
Once that third eye opens, it's just kind of a part of your mental faculty. And I have gotten to the point where I can do what's called full embodiment meditation. I'm meditating right now. I'm meditating almost all the time. Because you eventually get to a point where you practiced it so much, you've done it so much, and it just becomes a part of your mental faculty, and you can just switch in and out of thinking mind, meditating mind, thinking mind, meditating mind, and you can just switch back and forth whenever you want.
Indeed. And honestly, I've gotten to the point where I used to use guided meditation, but now I've gotten to the point where total silence really helps me as well. Every now and then I'll go to a guided meditation that I really like.
And I know, unfortunately,
even for a 5-minute one that Muji has, he has a really good 5-minute one. Indeed, he has a lot of them. He also does live videos on YouTube as well, and with a group of people around him. It's really interesting. It's as well as that guru, honestly.
And even if you're able to meditate for just 20 minutes,
that even helps.
Like when you wake up or before you go to bed or something, it helps. Not everyone is going to have the time to do it as much as I have, because I said I dedicated myself to it. I took
you had the time.
Yeah, I set aside a large portion of time dedicated specifically to just trying to transcend my mind and reach my personal enlightenment.
Yeah.
And some days I would go outside and I would sit under a tree and I'd meditate for 8 hours at a time.
Yeah. And
unfortunately, society doesn't always allow for us to do this. But if you're able to find at least 20 minutes, maybe even an hour to meditate, it will definitely benefit you a lot.
And that goes into the next thing we're going to talk about is
and not only that,
really ask.
It helps you physically, spiritually, emotionally, and like every single way that it can help you, it helps you. Okay. I haven't been sick with even a common cold in over a year.
Honestly.
Meditation has been scientifically proven to boost your immune system. Your body knows how to heal itself subconsciously when your mind is less active.
Yeah.
Like your body and mind always knows how to heal itself. And that's another thing. It's just thinking positively. Your body will perform better. Don't think of yourself as dying. Think of yourself as healing.
Yeah, and you'll have a lot more energy to do things in a more positive manner. Or even, heck, you may not like going to work, but you're like, hey, if you have a positive mindset but while you're going to work, or even while you're at work, even though you may not truly like it, but you keep that positive mentality, like, hey, I'm going to take whatever life throws at me in a positive manner, in a great way, and just accept it for what it is, and be accepting, like, hey, I'm not going to let this ruin my day, I'm not going to let this ruin my life, it's not going to ruin my week. You have the power to...
You create your own reality.
Yes, you create your own reality, and you have the power to choose what affects you and what doesn't.
You are perceiving things, and your mind is kind of constructing the world. This big loom of the mind, you're just kind of seeing things, and your brain goes, okay, and then you have an idea of what's going on.
Yes.
And if you have a pessimistic outlook and a negative outlook, you're going to see things negatively, because that's how your mind is programmed. So you create your own reality by making the conscious choice. Consciousness is completely free of this conditioning. If you free your consciousness, you can make the conscious choice to go, I'm in the moment. I had a good day today.
Yeah.
You can recover from things quickly. Like, there will be adversity in life, but you're able to recover from it quickly because you're immediately able to pull yourself back into what is instead of dwelling back into what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
I practice a sort of healing technique. I have delved into Reiki also, Reiki healing. I might talk about that sometime.
Yeah.
But I do a technique where if, like, I start feeling overwhelmed by something, I'll meditate and I'll let those negative thoughts come up because you don't want to suppress them. You want them to tell their story and leave. I let them come up. I'll do that shadow work. I'll let them tell their story. And I'll just sort of treat myself lovingly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to give yourself that love that you deserve. And then you tell that negative thought that it's okay, then let it go. And then sort of this technique. Start here, move your hand to the back of your head, you're moving everything into the past, open your eyes and allow yourself to just be amazed by the beauty of the new moment. As I said, check yourself. Oh, cool, still alive.
Yeah, hey, that's always a positive thing. Like, hey, I just woke up from that, I'm still alive. Hey, I almost got hit by a truck.
That happened to me a while ago.
Yeah, and he just thought like, hey, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
But hey, that happened.
I was like, oh, that might have hurt, but it didn't.
Yeah, hey, I got out of the way.
Drunk driver drove right up onto the sidewalk. Like, drove up onto the curb and everything
Purposely.
onto the sidewalk. I don't know if it was purposeful or if he was drunk, because I don't know people's intentions.
True.
But all I know is that all of a sudden there was a truck heading straight at me and I just sort of sidestepped and was like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
Like, it was jarring for a second, but a gazelle that is attacked by a lion and escapes quickly returns to grazing. Humans, I think, we're the only species that really, really holds on to things for a really, really long time. I know of people that would have been, like, afraid to go walking around town again after an experience like that. Because I watched the truck whiz by my face at about a couple feet away.
Yeah. Also, this goes into the next topic of our conversation of meditation on when should you meditate. Honestly, anytime. The best time is when you're the most busiest.
Honestly, yeah. Full embodiment meditation is great when you're doing a tedious task.
Because like me at work. Because I work at a factory, and honestly, it's very fucking tedious. It's the same repetition, honestly. And I can use full body meditation that way. My body is still moving and doing what it needs to do, while I am subconsciously meditating and actually healing myself from within. So I'm still getting progress done at work, but I'm still having a positive aspect on my life and being, hey, I'm here, I'm alive, the past is the past. Or I even look about like, hey, what are the troubles that are going with me at this moment? Maybe I can use this or that time to look back and be like, hey, it's okay. Tell yourself it's okay. Love yourself. Loving yourself is a big part of it. And being understanding of yourself. It really is.
Now, I've met some really, really selfless people, but they're still very depressed because they don't love themselves.
They give more than they would like.
And even though
receive.
even though that selflessness is a very, very beautiful thing, your compassion is incomplete if you yourself are not included in it.
Indeed, because how can you help everyone that you like to help everyone when you're not included? Everyone includes you.
And if you're not going to be able to help efficiently if you're so down, and then you're going to be helping people all the time, and then eventually you're going to start having thoughts. I've seen a lot of people have these thoughts. You start helping people constantly, and you're kind of in that depressed state.
Same.
And eventually you'll start thinking, I don't want to do this anymore. No, I'm feeling underappreciated. And that is a big thing that happens in selfless people. You want to have that side, but you also want to be able to replenish yourself. You have unlimited love. Give yourself some.
Yeah. You are worthy enough for that love. So give yourself
Especially
props.
if you're one of those people. You deserve it a lot. Because selfless people,
I agree. Like
they make the world go around.
They do. They really do. And if you yourself are selfless and have done things for others more than yourself, congrats. We love you, but also love yourself. Please. We love you. Another thing we can talk is another words again. Kyle, another topic that goes with meditation is what to do if you can't stop thinking, which we've also really talked about already, without even mentioning the bullet points. But
I feel like
we covered it, but we can at least summarize it at least really quick, honestly, just to give the idea.
Yeah, the idea is not to stop thinking; it is to distance yourself from it,
especially the past, and to distance yourself from the future.
It's to not log into those thoughts.
Yes, the here and moment is where it counts the most. Is where you're at. You have that power to make that change and that progress for yourself.
Stay in the sense of I am.
Yes, and not the ego state of me, I. Because it really does not. It really doesn't help at all.
Yeah, it's really worse if like people are looking into different dimensions of time that don't exist, and they're thinking I was or I will be, because then you just get all confused.
Yeah, and pretty upset, honestly.
I have a quote on Vicious Cycle of Positivity.
Please share it with us.
That says,
"Do not question the past. What's happened has happened. It's taught what it can and can no longer say anything original. Do not question the future. It is always uncertain, and answers will be filtered through uncertainty and doubt. If you want clarity, cast your curiosity no further than the present moment."
Indeed.
Analyze everything. I'm a very skeptical person. And I think that's why it's been easier for me to reach this state, because I've never been the type of person to watch the news and go, I believe that. Like, that seems like a well thought out opinion. Now it's my opinion.
Like, especially when they read books, like, just because they read one book on one thing, they think it's, oh, hey, this is my opinion now. Are you really sure about that?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just because you read something and you kind of agree with it, is it really your opinion, or are you just agreeing because you just read one thing, or just agree to agree?
Yeah.
But I used to, when I was younger, just agree to fit in. And I wasn't myself. And that is not a good thing to do. That is being not who you are.
I feel like one of the most difficult things to do in life is trying to be yourself in a society that's trying to make you everyone else.
Thank you.
But there is nothing more valuable than being able to be your authentic self.
Yes.
Because you never know who will love the you that you are hiding under a mask.
Agreed. It took me a while to actually be who I am and accept.
If you don't care what others think, you're going to attract the people you really want to be around. You don't want to fit in with the most popular person if what they're doing doesn't really match your spirit.
Yeah.
Like, people try to fit in because image, I guess. I don't know. I was never really like that, so I can't speak. But
I understand.
But I feel like that is a big thing, and I've noticed that, like, I deflect insults from people like they're nothing. Sometimes I just grab them and I make a self-deprecating joke, because once you run with it, they can't. They give up. They know they're not doing anything to you.
Honestly, yeah.
Like, it's so easy to do that kind of stuff for me personally. And I noticed that, like, for a while I did start just kind of, like, making myself smaller and kind of just not doing anything. And I have become more introverted just because it's hard to find interesting conversation.
Yeah. Honestly.
Thinking the way that I do. But I've attracted some very, very true and amazing friends. Chance, his girlfriend Cheyenne, who's in the other room doing whatever.
Honestly, she's just doing what she wants to do at this point, which is fine.
My friend Jacob.
Our friend
is
Jacob.
Like, yeah, Jacob's like my twin flame.
He is. Those two, when they can get together at any point in that same room,
he and I can talk in our heads.
Yes.
We're on the same wavelength.
Always. Always has been.
He and I can just exchange glances and go, and we just had a whole conversation.
Both of you have been through a lot together, and it's hard to separate that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And also, me and my girlfriend Kelly are very, very close also.
Indeed.
So, like, my friend circle is small, but it's tight. And that's more valuable than having a bunch of friends that you don't talk to on Facebook.
Even family, honestly.
Yeah. In all honesty, like,
family.
If you can love your family, but if the stuff that they say and if the stuff that they do does not match your spirit at all, it is okay to distance yourself. I've seen a lot of people that are, like, stuck in family situations where they're like, their parents are really, really hateful or abusive or racist or any of this stuff that just really, really upsets them, and they're like, I want to get out of here, but I can't. Just like,
or very closed-minded, and then you're trying to
it's
like,
okay.
more open-minded.
It's okay to leave that situation.
It really is. When I was younger, I used to be very closed-minded. Even my family, honestly, was. And I got out of that, and I always learned to be more or less different. Because I knew I was different, but I didn't know how. I was like, maybe I should just try to fit in, because that's how I was culturally conditioned from my family as well as everything else in the world. And that wasn't helping me at all. It was making it worse.
Yeah.
And me being me now is great. It's helped me a lot to understand myself as well as others, to project happiness and more positivity the way I want. I am always an outgoing and loving person. I just don't like the negativity that I can give to others.
And it sucks that cultural conditioning can be so sneaky.
Yes.
Like, it's thrown at us at a young age when our minds have never been smaller, and it's hard not to kind of believe things you're told when you're a new consciousness, you're a new person.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad, because then your life is made to be an illusion, and it takes a lot to unlearn that.
It really does, honestly. But in all,
I just splashed coffee in my nose.
good. Snort that coffee. Get that intense feel.
That caffeine buzz.
Oh yeah. Basically, inhale that oxygen of a coffee you have. Wait, should they? I think they should make coffee flavored oxygen if they haven't already. I think that would make you even.
You're a genius.
That might make you live even longer, Kyle. Honestly, at this point. But in all, thank you for watching this video. If you haven't watched the other one as well, check it out. Say it one more time.
Before we go.
Gotcha.
Balance the chakras.
Oh, I forgot.
That is something that I worked on a lot when meditating. I would focus on the certain areas of my body that would help me to get higher in my awakening. Like, it all starts with the present moment, feeling secure, being that I am presence,
The ground.
root. You open that root chakra, then gratitude over pessimism, embrace your creativity, just feel, enjoy the feeling. I feel music when I listen to it. Like, I love living. I feel great. And I love taking care of my health. That's part of solar plexus chakra. If you take care of yourself, you're going to have more inner strength because you have that love to give yourself that energy. I feel like my stamina is just really, really high because not even the stuff that I do physically, really. It's just a mindset of mine.
Mindset really helps improve a lot of things, honestly.
And, like, that solar plexus, just keep going. It's easy to get tired. It's easy to just kind of get run down. But if you're rooted and you love the feeling of just being alive, it's easy. It becomes easier to just keep going through it, riding that flow.
It really does.
And that heart chakra, let go of judgment, let go of hate, anger, all that. Just love unconditionally. Sometimes you have to learn to love the seemingly unlovable, because good and bad is just another type of prejudice.
It really is.
Great people do bad things with good intentions, and terrible people have done great things. The concept of good and bad is just too divisive.
Yeah.
So I've thrown that out. Love unconditionally, because you never know what you might spark when you give that to someone. And then speak the truth, be authentic. Don't have that anxiety so where other people can push you back down and be like, no, you gotta be this way, and then you're like, oh, okay. Like, you gotta at least have that authenticity, and
Be true to yourself.
This really helps. Like, you speak the truth, know what you know, be confident, but don't be arrogant.
It's okay to not know things.
Yeah, because
whoever tells you that
and that's the
you
point.
have to be like literally know everything, honestly, they don't know what they're talking about. Honestly.
And that's the importance of balancing them. Like, all the chakras have to work together. Like, if you have your heart chakra open, you're not going to become arrogant.
Yeah.
It's a balance. And then third eye, see through the illusion. Crown, you can't really open your crown.
No, it opens when it wants to open.
It opens when you are ready. The universe knows, and then it'll just happen.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to jump into that void of just, as I said, live life like you've already died.
That technically term of ego death.
Mm-hmm. Like, once you jump into that void of complete detachment, but you still have that unconditional love, the universe will be like, yeah, you got this. And you'll feel that Kundalini rise.
And I haven't been through that at all yet. So, and I'm taking my time, and I'm taking progress, and I'm loving the progress I'm making.
Definitely don't want to make that leap unless you're ready.
Yeah. Thanks, Kyle. Honestly, Kyle. But I think that's about it for now, I believe.
Yeah.
Alright. Well,
I'm just way too talkative. I'm a loquacious son of a bitch.
You are, but I love you to death.
I love you too, man.
Thank you.
And I love you.
We love you. And thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, visit the Kylor channel, and visit the Vicious Cycle of Positivity on Facebook.
Both of those will be linked in the description.
Indeed.
And check out some of the people we mentioned today. If you don't know who Muji is, or Eckhart Tolle, or Sadhguru, or Russell Brand, check those people out. They're awesome.
Please. They really are. They know what they're talking about. And through personal experience as well. We love you. Have a great day. Have a great night wherever you are. And just be you. Good night.
Good night.
Hello everybody, Editing Kyle here. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Outsider Stranded. If you did, please subscribe to Chance's channel. Also, links to my channel and the Vicious Cycle of Positivity Facebook page will be in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this episode, I love you, and keep spreading that positivity.
Kyle, roll the intro.
Alright.
Kyle, what happened?
Did I forget how to edit?
Oh, fuck!
Welcome to Outsider Stranded. Here's your host, Chance Clark.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Outsider Stranded podcasting here with your host,
Chance Clark.
Thank you, Kyle. And
You forgot his own name there for a minute.
Vaguely, I did. This is Kyle, as you well know from the other videos
That was
and the
me.
intro. 90% of the time.
Yeah. So yeah, it's okay to forget your own name. It's just a sound.
Yes, it's a label that, you know, who likes to use labels?
That just makes it easier to know what you're talking about. But we need not think with those. That's
Indeed.
monotonous. That's a drag.
It's very monotonous. But anyway, let's get right to it. Well, what should we talk about first?
Which we didn't even discuss what episode we wanted to do.
Indeed, we didn't discuss. So, edit Kyle. Boop. Traction lines.
I think we can do this one first.
This one?
Yeah. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing some fundamentals of spirituality, and just like the other episodes, we have a piece of paper.
Always,
So
just to make sure we know we're on track, you know?
Yeah. Because if we get off track, we're going to end up talking about a bunch of random shit like we did in the other episodes. Remember the Halloween discussion?
Indeed, the little tangents we love to go on.
It'll happen in this episode too.
But more than likely. So
That's just to get us back on some sort of flow, some kind of linear path for what we want to accomplish in the episode.
yes. And if you haven't noticed, I shave.
I did too. For him, it's more noticeable.
You've known me for the only 2 videos that we've had uploaded, plus the trailer. Big bushy beard to me.
He had a fancy Kratos beard.
I did, but I didn't say boy like every fucking 20 minutes.
Join the podcast, boy.
Boy, join the podcast. I'd be putting real Kratos to shame.
Of course.
But
Although,
anyway.
shout out to Christopher Judge, though. You're amazing.
Always. I love your...
It makes me sound like a soprano.
It does. We're going to start off with The law of attraction.
The law of attraction.
And what is that, Kyle?
The law of attraction is basically what you reap, you sow. You give out energies, energies come back to you. There is a certain science to this because sometimes you might think you're doing things that go with the flow of law of attraction, but I can't speak. Go with the flow of law of attraction that you might be attracting those right energies, but any wrong thought process can kind of throw it off.
Yes.
Because it is basically just setting an intention, acting as if it's already come to play, and then watching as it happens. The things that you are seeking are also seeking you when your mind is empty. You know what you want, and those things come to you. It's the art of effortless living, as talked about in the philosophy of Taoism.
Yes. The philosophy of Taoism is actually a very interesting topic, such as the way of Zen and other forms of that sort.
My yin-yang.
Indeed.
We're not meant to be perfect, we're meant to be whole. Everything is dual in nature.
Yes.
Especially the present moment.
Can't have one without the other.
The present moment is both infinitely small and never-ending.
It is. And that's the beauty of it.
I should say also, brief tangent, but it's been a little bit since we recorded an episode. Chance has come a long way.
Since the first two videos, honestly, we did. And now it's literally December 31st as we are doing this.
Mm-hmm. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone, till when this comes out.
It's not going to come out in New Year, most likely, because I don't know when I'm going to get around to editing.
Exactly, but either way, it will be into the new year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to us from the past.
To us?
I mean, from us. Words. Yeah.
Semantics.
Semantics are a little weird.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't get semantics.
Neither do I, but yet it just happens.
I do get semantics. I am one of the most difficult people to talk to sometimes.
You are, though. Okay.
Is this snake poisonous? No, but it's certainly venomous.
Yep. But anyway, the law of attraction is also the fact of, like, if you're also in a negative mind space, you're going to attract negative things as well. So if you're in a positive and healthy and stable mindset, good things will happen to you. It's literally that. If you're always positive and upbringing about different problems that come your way, say like you lost your job, well, yeah, you may be upset and pissed, but don't let it ruin your day. It's the fact of you have multiple options now to go through.
Even when something negative happens, if you look at it as a door opening rather than closing, because when you're in that situation, you can view it as, oh, this shouldn't be happening. I expected different from this outcome. But if you're expecting something, as we've talked about before, you're setting yourself up for disappointment and suffering. So if you just say, this is how it is, this must be happening for a reason, and go with that flow, not expecting, but knowing that good things could be on the way. And that is exactly what happened with Chance when he lost his factory job, and now he's working at a place he actually enjoys.
Indeed, and I feel like I can be myself more, as well as be myself here at home as well. And I'm just more comfortable, and I'm actually happy. So that's what I like to have. As long as I'm comfortable with my own skin and happiness, why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people have said, like, they don't actually hate themselves. They hate not being able to be themselves. And there's something about having to not be your authentic self that just creates such a drag on your being. And I'm sure you can say now that having this new job and being able to be yourself isn't a fleeting happiness. It's not one of those things where you obtain something and then you're like, ah, yeah! But now what?
Right?
Like the ego tends to do. Yeah. If you're able to find a way to be yourself and incorporate things that you love into what you do, then you never work a day in your life.
Exactly. If you get a job that you absolutely love, it's a Confucius quote. I know it, but I can't word it properly, so can you please word it correctly?
I'm pretty sure it was exactly what I just said. That if you enjoy what you're doing, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, exactly. Confucius.
In case I didn't word that exactly word for word, I'll pop something up on screen somewhere.
Indeed. But another thing we can... Well, what else? Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it for that part.
It's kind of the entire fundamental of my page, Vicious Cycle of Positivity. It's like one of the first things I learned, that if I was just more positive, more positivity tended to come my way. It just kind of happened that way.
Right.
And I started picking up on things and going, I need to change my mindset.
Yeah. The mindset...
Because
my mindset was kind of...
if you really have the law of attraction mindset, even when things aren't going well, you can find ways to be content with it.
Yeah, you really can.
The way you respond to things is a choice.
Yeah. Like, the choice that you have, you can either let it affect you or you don't let it affect you. It's one or the other. You can't have in between.
Yeah, you can't always control what goes on in the external world, but how you react and how you feel, that is completely up to you.
It is.
It is a choice.
Mm-hmm. You can choose to get upset from someone else's, from what they say about you or to you, and it gets you all riled up, but you have to think back. Why am I letting this get to me when I don't want to be upset?
Mm-hmm.
And then thinking that can also get you upset as the fact of like, why am I upset? Ugh!
Yeah. Anger is a mistake. It's a punishment we give ourselves for someone else's mistake. I got ahead of myself when I tried to say that. But recently I was talking to someone who was just really, really angry. And then I said, breathe for a minute, focus on your breath, stay present. Because just as you cannot see your reflection in a pot of boiling water, you cannot think clearly when you're angry.
Yeah.
You have to let the clouds settle. And that's exactly what they kind of picked up on. They're like, okay, I'm trying. And then they started getting riled up again because they were trying to justify their anger. I said, do you like being angry? Is it something that you enjoy? And then they said, no, it pisses me off. And I said, well, if it pisses you off, reason your way out of it. The quicker you get out of it, the less that negativity rewires your brain to be more negative in the future.
Indeed.
Because thinking negative thoughts does rewire your brain to be more prone to gossiping, complaining, and just viewing everything negatively.
And also the thing is, the more you get frustrated and upset at someone for what they say or that just irritates you, that doesn't even have anything to do with you, the more you can be manipulated. Completely.
I posted that on Vicious Cycle of Positivity recently.
Indeed, and I did read that.
Awesome.
So that's why I remembered.
Yeah, like, if you really think about it, what is willingness?
Willingness? Willingness is just
it's doing something you want to do.
Yeah.
It's saying yes to life.
It is.
So if you give other people the power to determine how you feel, you're their prisoner.
Mm-hmm. They already got you cornered.
If someone has the power to make you angry or make you sad, where does that leave you in that situation? You're not wanting to feel that way, but it's happening. You've allowed yourself to become susceptible to that kind of manipulation. It really is manipulative if you allow your emotions to be because of something out there rather than in here.
Indeed. It's okay to feel what you feel, upset and everything, but it's what the actions that cause that you choose to use.
When something arises in me, any kind of emotion, because I'm not like, people think awakening is just like,
no emotion.
I never feel sadness. I never feel anger.
That's the most common misconception.
Yeah, and that's kind of an ego trap.
It really is.
Because but now, I've been more honest with the way I feel about things, and I've genuinely reached a point in my life where I can be feeling sad and have a smile on my face just because being able to experience human emotions is a gift that we take for granted.
It really is. And people just don't.
Somebody came up to me and they were just like, hey, you alright? Because I was kind of just meditating on the feeling and just learning what it was teaching me. And then I looked up and said, yes. And they said, you looked rather melancholy. And I said, I am. And they were very confused.
At least you're honest, and you're just trying to determine what that was telling you. Mm-hmm. Your feelings were telling you.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily identify with those emotions. I just kind of let the experience be what it is, and I learn, and I appreciate that I'm able to have that experience.
And that also, it
does tie in a little bit next to the next little bullet there.
It really does. The backwards law.
The backwards
Oh, the law. Oh, that looks like an O. I'm sorry. Kyle uses cursive 24/7.
I've actually never learned to write in print.
Yeah.
I only write in cursive.
Which is very strange because I can look at cursive and do it once in a while, but once, like, Kyle writes cursive 24/7, it takes me a minute to analyze it.
Yeah.
Because no one really uses cursive much anymore.
It's like reading hieroglyph.
It really is. It's a second language that you already know, but you're like, wait a minute.
Fun fact about me, I can actually read ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's not something that I use very often, so I'm a little rusty probably, but it was actually something that I taught myself to do a while back.
Indeed. You taught yourself a lot of many things, probably.
Yeah.
Through internet and books. Just
Yeah.
You educated yourself.
Yeah.
Which is I love.
Which, that's what you should do. Never let your
Everyone.
schooling interfere with your education. Mark Twain said that.
I was about to say it, damn it! You stole that! No, you didn't steal anything.
Because school is just like,
Hey, here's some useless information, and now go out and get a job with this information that has nothing to do with that job.
and it's like, I started examining also when I got into the 4th grade, because I was a straight A student from like kindergarten to 3rd grade. And then in 4th grade, I started knowing, like, I started noticing things. I was like, hey, this is just 3rd grade, but with more homework. What the hell? And then I completely lost interest in school, and I wasn't able to socialize because cliques. I don't want to gossip.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about problems. I want to talk about my blessings and joys and passions and philosophy. So I never really could socialize with people. I was like, I'm just going to pull myself out of school and educate myself. This isn't positively serving me anymore.
Right? And once Kyle, like, when he met me at school, I was completely different from what I am now. Completely. And I'm glad I don't identify with my past self like that anymore. Thank God.
We all can look back at past self and be
Yes.
like, what were you doing?
Yeah, like, come on, man. Why? You had so many other choices. You don't
But-
need to do that.
So those mistakes ultimately led us to where we are.
Yes,
And
present
valuable-
moment.
Valuable
Yeah.
life lessons to learn.
But
I am not my past. It is just the path that brought me here.
yes. Anyway, on the tangents, the backward law.
The backwards law basically is, if you desire a positive experience, it is a negative experience. But if you accept negative experience, it is a positive experience.
So the same thing with the duality of the yin and yang. You have to accept both in order to gain one.
That applies.
Same.
That definitely applies. But there is sort of a nature to this, and I'll provide some examples. Like, if you're constantly desiring something other than you have, you reinforce the idea that you are lacking.
Ah, I see.
If you're constantly wanting more money, you are reinforcing the idea that you are poor.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong. That's completely right, actually.
If you spend all your money to get groceries, you're like, oh damn, I lost all my money. But you have the real wealth
Yeah,
that you're now taking
You're
home.
technically rich in what you provide for yourself that with actual necessities like
the stuff
groceries, food that keeps you stable, healthy, alive.
the stuff that people are placing value on is the little pieces of cotton paper with pictures of dead politicians on it. It doesn't actually have any value. You can't eat that. You could, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, as Alan Watts said, you could have all your stocks and everything and monies and your hundreds of bills, but are you going to really actually need that on a desert island? No. You're going to need food, shelter, and animals.
Mhm.
Literally. And that's... people don't really fully understand it. That's why...
If you're desiring to be somewhere else, you're not happy where you are. Backwards law applies to everything. Anytime that you find yourself thinking, if I could have this, I'd be happy, and then think, hold up. Why am I trying to escape? Why am I wanting out?
Yeah.
Because this is a beautiful experience to be having right here in the now. There is no problem.
Right?
Like, people are kind of out of touch with reality if they're projecting into the future or thinking about the past. The only thing that exists is right now. You exist right now. I exist right now. There's nothing else. And if you really ground yourself completely in the present moment and look around, there's generally nothing wrong with what's happening.
Yeah, there's really not.
And if you're able to accept when something is happening, like if the people you live with are having a fight or if something's going wrong, if you can stay calm and peaceful in this moment, just know that you are not the body, you are not the mind. Just approach it as if you are completely unharmable, but also no limitations. There's a balance there, middle way.
The middle way is the best way.
But like, if you're able to stay calm in situations like that, then just know this is temporary.
It is.
Just stay with your breath always.
All this is temporary. Like, this apartment we're in, it's temporary, but we're loving the moment we are in it at this point.
Even this body I'm living in is temporary.
This body, this hair, all of this.
This is just an apparatus, a vehicle for me to go from place to place and have the human experience and learn what I need to learn, and then eventually I'm just going to return it back to the earth.
Yes, because it's the natural cycle of life, and it's actually quite beautiful. People are scared about death, but why? When it's a natural thing.
I feel like that actually comes back to cultural conditioning.
It does.
Because
think about it.
It's been put into our minds like, oh, death is the end of everything.
But
is it though? What do we really know about it?
It's really not. We know little to nothing about it, actually. It's
like, I want my death to be extravagant.
Happy, yes.
Like, I want to be able to make jokes with the people taking care of me and make them happy. Like Mother Teresa said, never let anyone come to you without leaving happy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like,
she was really wise.
Really if I'm on my deathbed, I still want to be having fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because
like, put a party hat on. Like, look, come on.
Mm-hmm. Like, if I'm going to sit there and just be like, oh no, I'm approaching my end, I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
Another Mother Teresa quote: "The reason people fear the future is because they're wasting today." All of our suffering is from expectation, from desire, from all these different mind traps that we find ourselves facing.
Indeed, it is.
But if we just stay in the moment.
Indeed. I really like that.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, not thinking too much, because if you start thinking too much, then you're going to end up going down the rabbit hole of desire and expectation and all this different stuff, because your mind is like, I need to find problems to solve.
Yeah, thinking is good, but it's also very dangerous.
Mm-hmm. And most of the problems your mind is trying to solve were self-created.
Yeah, so...
And I realized that after a while.
When you don't really need to... your mind shouldn't tend to create problems that aren't even there, or don't even need to be solved that are already solved. It's just, I guess, a coping mechanism for your consciousness and your mind itself.
Well, your mind is your survival mechanism.
Yeah.
Your mind is always thinking the worst.
It is.
Because that's...
It tries not to set you up for hope, like, so you can be like, oh shit. Yeah, unexpectedly.
If you lived many thousand years ago, you might have to be worried about walking out of your cave and getting attacked or jumped by a saber-toothed tiger. But
we also talked about that before, yes.
Things are a bit more chill now, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, thankfully. And that also leads into, we should probably go on to the next bullet point.
We kind of already segued into it, analyzing ego traps.
Yeah, you're right. I just realized that while reading the prompt.
Yeah. So there's many ego traps. Like the thinking. Thinking can suck. The mind is a sneaky bitch.
It really is.
Like, sometimes people, I'll talk to them and they'll like want to learn meditation, and I'll sit with them and I'll try to meditate with them, and they'll be like, I don't know, it feels like I'm thinking too much. I'm like, okay, just watch your mind wander, pull yourself back, grow your consciousness. You're not going to be able to just go into the samadhi state right away. No. It takes time. I'm able to pull myself into a silent mind pretty easily. Did it just now. You know what's happening when your ears start ringing and you just feel your presence like fully up here, that kundalini rise.
Yep, in the crown.
Mm-hmm.
In the crown chakra.
And then you can really focus on like emanating that Taurus field, focus on the heart chakra, think thoughts of gratitude. Like, you really have a lot of control over your energy. That was a side tangent. What was I talking about?
Analyzing ego traps.
Yeah,
basically.
like
and ego itself.
People will worry about thinking too much, and then they'll start thinking about non-thinking.
and that's a thought.
And that's still thinking, so technically...
And then they'll be like, oh no, I gotta get out of thinking. And they're still thinking. They get sucked into the rabbit hole, and it just keeps pulling them and pulling them and pulling them. Like the mind just... And even when doing shadow work sometimes, I notice, like, any thoughts, it's from the mind. But the consciousness is spread out through the entirety of my being. If I feel a sensation in my hand, it's sending a nervous signal up to my brain. Everything that we experience is basically just a sensation happening in our head. But that consciousness is the thing that experiences it.
Oh, yeah.
But if we identify with the thinking, we're just identifying with one aspect of our consciousness. And that can become a problem when you're, suffering from the thoughts you're having.
Yeah, your thoughts can really drag you down, and you're like, oh shit, why am I depressed? Why am I sad? Why am I mad? Your thoughts, your ego, it entraps you within itself to keep you stable.
And you want to have a healthy ego. You can't kill it. I should make that.
Kyle tried.
I tried. Like, I actually got to a point. I had kind of like a dark night of the soul experience where I was just like, I can't do it with society anymore. I don't like thinking the way people think. I just can't. And then I was just like, wait a minute. Why am I trying to destroy the human experience? Why am I trying to ascend too high? I was trying to, like, leave my body. I was just so tired.
Like, right then and there, you were trying to.
Like if I could have just, like, shed my skin and floated off into the cosmos,
you would have done, like, forever ago.
in that moment, I would have done that. But then I realized, I was like, it's not a problem. It's just, this life is something that happened to me, and now it's my choice to make of it what it is. And now I've been kind of training my ego to just be a part of me and be healthy and express the source through me with all the love and compassion that I'm capable of. But, like, I've noticed I'll do some shadow work sometimes, and I'll just kind of analyze my thoughts in the way that it'll, like, try to take over my mind. And I'm a philosophical thinker, and I notice, like, sometimes you can identify with the awakened self, and then your ego will try to latch onto that and pull itself up. And take over. Because my ego is just kind of like, I'm thinking right now. That is, but I'm aware of the awareness, and my thoughts were saying this. They were like, I'm aware of the awareness. I'm kind of breaking the fourth wall of reality. My thoughts have become aware of the awareness. They're now thinking this. And then I said, haha, I'm onto you, you sneaky ego. And then I was like, wait a minute. That was a thought. The ego calls itself I when pretending to be you.
It does. It's really fucking sneaky.
Yeah, as Alan Watts said, it would seem that I know, but I wish I could see who sees me when I know that I know that I know. If you start thinking and overthinking the awakening, it can lead you down this, like, spiraling loop of just paradox after paradox.
It is. That the whole paradox shift when thinking like that.
It's like telling someone that this statement is false. It creates an infinite loop that the mind is trying to get out of, but the ultimate answer is there is no problem. If you try to solve something like that, you're going to end up driving yourself crazy.
Yes, because Kyle's done that to me several times before I basically decided to do any of this and become my new self and to be positive this way, as to not overthink, basically, as well as I was.
Because people overthink the idea of awakening. They think they're trying to obtain something new, but it's just returning to your place of awareness.
Yeah, and some people think of awakening as like a superhuman ability or an ability that people...
Everyone has
it, and people can... As long as you're seeking it, you'll get it. That's the thing. Like, it's already there within you.
Yeah,
you just have to nurture it even more. That's the thing.
I think, as Alan Watts also said, he said, "Stop playing hide and seek with your consciousness." We're all just playing a game with the human experience. It's just kind of a game. The universe is expressing itself through you, and anytime you want out, just wake up.
Indeed. And then another bullet point we have, the knowledge of unknowing, which we technically were already segued into.
Well,
with Alan Watts, thank God.
The knowledge of unknowing. What is knowing?
Knowing is knowing.
Mm-hmm. It would seem to be, wouldn't it?
Right? But it's not.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Like, we always think we know this, so when something happens, we approach it with, like, we know this.
Do you really know it, though? Because you don't.
Our perception is limited.
It is.
You can't see the ultraviolet rays.
Can't see the molecules.
But they're there.
Yes.
You can't see infrared light, but it's there. You can't see the cosmic rays, but they're there. It's all these different things. Like, if you really know that your experience is limited, and you're not privy to certain things just because your senses don't allow you to be, you can really start thinking, are my thoughts and what I think I know also equally limited? And yes, they are.
They are.
Because if someone is doing something and then you project a feeling onto that, or a judgment, you say that's bad. Who is the one that is deciding that is bad?
Obviously you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like Sadhguru said,
they could be making a big mistake with the best of intentions. You never know.
Exactly.
So just as you can't see the infrared light and ultraviolet light that exists all around us, when you see somebody doing something, don't judge, don't assume anything. Just think, what am I not seeing?
Indeed.
Not what am I seeing. If you think, what am I not seeing, then you know that what you're not seeing is their side of the story.
Indeed. And you can't see well, of course you guys can't see our mic, which is in front of us here. It's like you can't see the atoms that really make it up.
That really opens your mind to the many, many possibilities. As I said, it's like, what am I not seeing? I'm not seeing their side of the story. Once you know that you don't fully understand, you understand.
It's true. But once you think you know something, you absolutely know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm. Like, if I say, this is something that's happening, that is an irrefutable fact. And it's one of the only irrefutable facts of which I am capable.
Yeah. And that also kind of goes into what he was saying earlier about judging, as well as judging others and thinking about that and judging people from good and bad. As Sadhguru said, there's no such thing as good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
There are good or bad people in general. There are
good people that do bad things,
yeah.
and bad people that do amazing things.
Yes, indeed. There are only joyful people and miserable people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally it. And it's really true if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Really ponder at it, but don't overthink it, though, is the thing.
It's that duality, but it's not a good and bad. It's
just there,
it's,
really.
It's beyond the concept of good and bad, because the concept of good and bad is just a judgment.
Yes.
But, like...
Who are we to pass judgment on others, even ourselves?
Yeah.
Like, we can't judge, technically, a dog for, like, oh, you shouldn't have done this, when it's a dog. It doesn't know what not to do, but what it actually wants to do.
We expect it to think in human concepts.
Same thing with cats, animals, even children. People think that just because there's children around, or we have children of our own in general, they think that, oh, we can connect on the same wavelength or whatever to this child that's like, what, 4? No, he has a mindset of a 4-year-old. His concepts of things are different from yours.
But also, that's exactly why he's much more curious and much more aware than the adult. I honestly view kids as much more aware and receptive of things than most adults are. They're easier to talk to for me personally.
I agree. Kids are more easy to talk to.
And like when you're in that state of awareness, kids just kind of know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I once walked by a kid at Walmart and he stopped and just went because of my presence. You could just kind of tell that that energy. Younger people are more susceptible to energies. They feel it. They kind of know it. Adults have crammed their brains full of concepts and now they're not open to experiences such as presence.
Indeed. And that's why I said, don't really judge people if you can't even look at yourself first. Like, if you're really thinking about judging someone or thinking of that way in a judging manner, that's like saying that's very irritating, that you don't like.
Because you are seeing that.
Yeah, you're seeing that, but what are you actually upset of? Are you upset that they're expressing their own body, their own movement, the way they love themselves? Because you don't do that?
Yeah. Your perception of them, as I said, is also a sensation happening in your head. So when you begin to judge them, they are a mirror of you.
It's a mirror effect. You're actually looking at yourself and judging yourself without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm. It's another ego trap.
It is.
So the best way to know is to completely unlearn everything you think you know.
It is. Even though it sounds easy, but it's not. But
Not for most people.
Yeah, not for most people. But also, it doesn't sound easy, but yet it is.
It's really just emptying the cup.
Just emptying the cup when it's already there.
What makes the cup useful? It's emptiness.
Indeed, you can fill multiple things with it.
Mhm.
Or even you don't even have to. It's a cup.
Mm-hmm.
It's already filled, but it's also not.
Right now it's full of air.
Yeah, it can be full of air. It can be full
So
of...
the cup is always full.
Technically, yes.
I just put a damper on the is the cup half empty or half full thing. No, it's always full.
Technically, it is always full.
I've actually have a way of stumping people with those kind of logic questions. Like those trick questions that are meant to make you think in terms of paradoxes. I've actually reasoned my way out of them. Like one time somebody asked me, hey, what came first, chicken or the egg? And without hesitation I said egg, obviously. And they're like, what? No, how do you know? And then I said, because dinosaurs were laying eggs before chickens ever existed. It was invented first.
And I just love the whole logic behind that. And
Right.
it makes so sense that it's so simplified, and people are like, wait a minute. That actually does make sense.
Right.
Because it boggles their mind that the simplicity, like, wait, what?
Uh-huh.
The whole simplicity behind those is really funny.
What I think it is they're not looking at everything with the whole picture.
Yeah.
They say, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
And they
The
think
chicken-
it's just those two things.
The chicken and the egg are the things that are in question.
Yes.
But, as I said, dinosaurs were laying eggs before chickens existed. All of history is a part of this question. Because you're implying a time. What came first?
Yeah.
There is a glance back into time, and there was a lot of things that happened back in time.
Yeah.
Like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Everything's connected.
Really is. Okay, and our next bullet point is the teachings of Zen.
Zen techniques.
Yes.
That's a hard one to teach, honestly.
It really is. Like, that's a
Because
whole, like, series more. It really is.
It's a knowing that you just kind of have to understand. It's not something that you can
It's
get
the
by
art of
reading.
knowing.
Yeah, it's the art of being completely at peace. And completely...
Well, that's a nice burp.
I'm full of wind. Like, it's being content and being blissful and joyful, enthusiastic even. And it's also about not taking everything so seriously.
Oh, yeah.
People suffer because they take their life seriously.
They take life itself way too seriously.
My friend Jacob and I once spent like a good few minutes laughing at a trash can.
My trash can, I might add.
And the reason we were laughing at the trash can is because one of us asked, why is this called a trash can?
It's true.
We don't know.
Like, of course, there's the name of the trash can. They keep in the theater in like the whole history of the name, but
Yeah, like
what the real question is, why is it called that though? Like,
it's expanding yourself out of the human conceptual way of thinking. Like, is this a piece of paper? Most would say yes, but it's not a piece of paper because a piece of paper is a series of symbols and sounds.
vocal
Syllables.
tones,
I didn't
yeah.
mean to say symbols. Syllables. It's
Yes, symbols. I was like,
it's syllabolic sounds that we are making, but what this is this. It's this right here. This is what it is. It's not a piece of paper. That's a sound. This is what it is. So, like Alan Watts said, true Zen is being able to look out at the external world without placing any concepts or ideas upon it.
yes, and that's what makes the world very beautiful, actually.
If you can just see everything how it is, you start to see the little intricacies and beauty and everything. Did you know that you can see the flower of life in most plants? Sacred geometry.
Oh yeah. Because I've actually been studying upon that as well in my sheet.
In some plants, you can also see the Merkaba, which is the balance of opposing forces, masculine and feminine.
Oh yeah.
We all have both of those energies.
Definitely.
I'm very feminine.
And I'm in between as well. Like, literally just, that's just it. And it's
Like-
good. It's happy.
It was funny because I have such a deep voice, but I have a very, very feminine physique. And one day I was walking downtown, down a sidewalk, and not even a sidewalk, like the little side area on the highway. And a man in a truck pulls up next to me and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, do you need a ride?" And I turned around and said, "No, I'm good."
in your deep voice.
Yeah, his face was like, I'm sorry. I'm like,
Really, oh no.
"Oh."
That's fine. It's a common misconception people get just by the way you look and your whole stature.
Mhm.
Honestly.
And the way I move, I put my hips into my steps.
And he's a very buff anorexic man. They're really
Yeah.
It's
I'm
quite confusing almost.
I'm 5'9". I weigh a little over 120 pounds, but I'm very toned.
Yeah, and people get questions like, okay, it's a little weird.
It just is.
It just is.
But
Kyle, stop showing off.
I know that's what I was doing there, but I'm proud of my health. You take care of your body, and your body takes care of you. I'm full of energy because I actually use energy. I work out mostly to be able to have energy.
Well, that's always a great thing to do, of course. You kind of need energy to go about your day.
Yeah.
And to also spread happiness and, just be you.
Yeah, because if you're
In a groggy mood, too.
If you're getting off the couch and you're like, I don't want to use the body parts, then your energy level is going to decrease and decrease and decrease the more that you have that mentality. And I've talked to a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people that just get to a point where they're so tired of using their body because they feel fatigued, and they're so tired of being depressed that they just sleep their problems away. And that's not how that works. You're just creating more of a problem for yourself.
Yeah.
So,
because I've been there before, too.
my commitment to fitness is not necessarily to show off and be like, oh yeah, look at my muscles, I'm so attractive. It's just so I feel good.
Right? It actually, the whole story behind you actually working out is an interesting subject itself, though. You watched, a exercising montage video? What was it?
No, I was actually just kind of thinking about health one day, and I was thinking about Chuck Norris.
Oh yeah.
Because Chuck Norris is 80, and he's still really, really fit.
He looks like he's 60.
And I was like, I want to be that way. I don't want to be in a wheelchair or unable to move when I'm 50. I want to commit to health right now. So I started eating mostly seafood, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and exercising very vigorously.
Oh yeah, very vigorously.
I do the one-arm push-ups, I do V sit-ups.
And I can't do those yet, but that's okay.
I do one-legged squats.
He does.
He's
got strong ankles.
I push myself to my limit.
And you use every fiber, literally every fiber and muscle you have.
Chance walked in the door one day to see me in almost a handstand position on the couch with my feet balanced up against the wall, and I was lowering my face just in this vertical position.
And I was like...
He was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, it's called sit-ups, Chance. It's totally normal, don't question it.
Not sit-ups, push-ups. That was my mistake there.
Aha! Caught you! A mistake! That's another thing people like to do. Be like, haha, I caught you in a mistake. Okay, and?
Right.
But anyway, other way. Flip it! Thanks, Kyle, for messing with the thing.
We were about to start reading bullet points from the next episode.
Indeed. You should also watch that, too. Thank you.
That'll be after this episode.
Indeed. So, yeah. So don't leave just yet. Here we go. Healthy ways to build stoicism.
Kind of comes back to my exercise routine. We've been segueing into these very fluidly.
Without realizing
Without even trying to.
Because I just look at it and be like, okay, that's what we can talk about, or possibly segue into, or me being like, hey, remember this thing?
No.
Okay, end of video. Oh god,
I love you, Chance.
I love you too, Kyle.
So, healthy stoicism. Something to be said.
Is it?
Maybe.
Okay.
That's up for us to decide.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm up for it.
Do you want to continue the podcast?
Well, of course. So there we go. Wait.
Something to be said is comfort is a bit of a drug.
Oh, completely.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Because
big thing.
you become used to something, you become comfortable with something, and then when you don't have it, it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
And there's this sort of feeling of attachment, and you feel this gap, and that's what causes stress. Stress is the gap between your expectation and reality.
How dare you?
But the what was I even talking about? My burp distracted me.
Burp distractions.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're coming back.
But yeah, if you become attached to something and then all of a sudden you don't have it, it becomes a problem. So don't let anything own you. And lately, I've actually been cutting back on coffee.
Oh yeah, completely.
Because-
He wasn't like addicted to coffee. Like people would be addicted to cigarettes.
Like I would just
It's
drink
bad.
I would just drink coffee just to have the feeling of something warm getting into my system while I was doing my writings and editing and all this different stuff. And then I started realizing like I am just so dependent on coffee to keep me focused. So I've been cutting back on coffee. I haven't had coffee in 2 days now.
So far, and that's good.
And I love coffee. I'm not gonna quit drinking coffee, but I want to make sure that coffee doesn't own me.
Yeah, and you want to set back and be like, okay, I need to try other things besides
Yeah.
just coffee.
I just drank tea. Yes. So like there are different things to drink. Water. I drink these the Naked brand fruit smoothies.
God, they're so good.
They are. I got Green
Oh.
Machine in the fridge.
I know, it's so good. The Blue Machine, I love so much. Blue Machine's good.
Mighty Mango.
Mighty
the,
Mango.
The Strawberry Banana. And it's healthy.
The strawberry banana is really good.
It's actually a healthy juice.
It
Now, a lot of
is.
people think of juice as healthy, but that's because they don't fucking read the label.
Yeah.
like
okay.
Tropicana orange juice has
I was
just
about
about
to
as
say that.
yeah, it has
Yes.
about as much sugar as a Pepsi.
Ugh, and that's not good. Like,
Not at all.
unnatural sugars aren't supposed to
poison.
be consumed.
It's basically cocaine
Yeah, you're destroying your kidneys.
in your brain. It's affecting your brain in about the same way cocaine does, and it's even more addictive.
Yeah.
This research is out there, yet people consume sugar like it's going out of style because they're addicted to it. But I wanted to make sure that nothing owned me. I even cut sugar out of my diet a long time ago. And then now my body rejects it completely. It really is poison. Like, I cut sugar out of my diet, and then one day I went to IHOP, and I was like, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to eat something that I used to love from childhood. And I got pancakes, and I walked out of the IHOP feeling so ill, and my hands were shaking. I looked like a crack addict going through withdrawals. It wasn't good. I was in so much pain
Yeah.
because my body was like, no, don't go back to this. Eat healthy food.
Right? And people were like, are you okay? You're like, no,
And they're
not
like,
at all.
and then somebody was like, maybe cutting sugar out of your diet isn't good if it's going to affect you this way. I'm like, no, it's affecting me this way because sugar is not meant to be in the body.
Yeah. Once you get something completely out of your system, it's like,
Then the addiction is
Good.
gone, and then once you like eat sugar again, your body's gonna be like, nope.
yeah,
But
completely.
healthy stoicism, just discipline yourself.
Oh yeah.
Discipline yourself in healthy ways. Like, yeah, I hate the cold, but I've begun taking cold showers.
Yeah.
And doing like some Wim Hof breathing to keep myself a little bit warm.
And also trying to slightly put layers on you, since he is a skinnier individual and just
Yeah.
how he's built in a way.
It's just,
The cold
And
really
I
affects
also-
him a lot.
I also
more
have
than me.
I also have Raynaud's disease, so my hands get cold really easy.
Yeah, and that kind of really makes it to where your hands are just basically
Yeah.
feels completely frozen when they're
And
not.
so, sometimes I actually have to run my hands in like warm water or put them in front of the heater for a minute because I'll be typing and then my hands will get cold. It'll become more difficult to move my fingers, and I'll find myself going. So I have to sometimes put my hands in front of something warm just to kind of get my mobility back.
Oh yeah, like most people would.
Yeah.
This winter, obviously.
But in order to kind of build up a tolerance to the cold more, I've been subjecting myself to it intentionally. It's winter currently, and I've been going outside just in my tank top to drink some tea in the morning. Just it builds up your tolerance to things.
It's just a little bit every day.
There was a lesson. I learned this lesson honestly from sleeping on park benches and abandoned cars when I was tasting homelessness for a couple weeks.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, tasting it.
The good taste of being homeless.
I took a big bite out of that. But no, I was on a park bench just kind of. I mean, I was having fun at the same time because my friend Jacob was with me.
Of course.
And we just enjoyed each other's company. Like, we weren't going to sit there and be miserable about it.
Nope.
But, like, I was definitely cold for sure.
It was definitely freezing.
So I want to be able, in the event I need to be able to withstand cold.
Yeah. Just, when the economy collapses and everything's going crazy and everything, and when people realize, I won't be able to keep this place. Well,
Stoicism is when
outside.
Stoicism is when you're able to look at the face of adversity and just kind of go, that's okay.
That's a problem, but you know what? I see you. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll deal with you now.
Right?
With utmost positivity and head on. Literally, you have to do it head on. Because if you don't and just take a little bit out of it, you're just giving it time to
everything you want is on the other side of fear. So if you fear something, you should tackle it while it's there.
Yeah. I agree.
Unless it's like something trying to kill you, then you should get away from that.
Yeah, that's a natural instinct of
but like in terms of anxiety,
get the fuck out.
In terms of like anxiety,
oh yeah,
or anything, like if something is making you uncomfortable, power through it and build yourself up, because you can push yourself to get past things. And I've done this from experience. When I say you can nice.
There's a yawn. Yawning. It's a yawning.
But like
musical joke.
When I say that you can overcome anxiety and depression without antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication,
you really can.
I suffered from a really, really bad depression when I was younger.
Oh yeah.
And I to this day tell people depression is not a mental illness. It's a mental illness, but it's not a disease.
Yeah, it's
like if you go around telling yourself that it's a disease and you pop pills, you're developing a dependency on the pills and not actually tackling the root of the problem and overcoming it. You're looking at it like it's a chronic thyroid problem. Like I need to take my levothyroxine so I don't die. Like you're placing a limitation on yourself by doing it as a disease or something that you have to live with rather than just a mindset that you can pull yourself out of. I can say that because I had depression.
Yeah. And Kyle was seeing me.
If you want to cure depression, go outside, stand in the grass, look at the trees, sun gaze when it's safe. Don't do that when it's like noon. Do it during the sunrise and sunset. Just sun gaze, stand outside, drink a warm beverage.
Something that won't
eat something yellow, something for the sacral chakra, like consume or orange. Consume some carrots or some mangoes or peaches, because healthy food will make your body feel better, and if your body feels better, you feel better. Like there are ways out of depression other than meds. That's just.
And then your body just builds a resistance to those meds after a while. Honestly, it's a natural thing the body does.
Because the only reason that it's even labeled as a disease is because there's a bunch of big pharma drug dealers out there that want to give people something to be dependent on so they make money. You got to be aware that in an economy that functions on money, you find yourself in a situation where people are going to be very manipulative in order to get more money.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really trust a lot of the information that people pass off as science, if I'm being entirely honest.
Yeah. Completely.
Because there is an agenda. You got to ask yourself, what is the agenda? Are they trying to sell me something, or are they really trying to help?
Yeah, like you really have to ask those questions, especially in this day and age of just how this economy is ran here in the U.S. or even in general, technically. In
I can't.
Other
I
countries,
honestly,
places.
I can't speak for other countries because I don't have experience in other countries.
Yes.
I've been to several states in the U.S. I've traveled a decent bit to some of the states like Texas, Iowa, South Carolina. I've been to Iowa a bunch of times. I've been to Michigan.
Yeah.
Alabama. I actually saw the USS Alabama, the battleship.
I remember you did.
I'll pop that picture up there.
Thanks, Kyle. Edit Kyle, editor Kyle. But yeah.
Anything you'd like to add?
Actually, I feel like we covered it, Kyle. What do you think?
Fancy. I think we did too.
Well, that's good to hear.
We followed the paper and also didn't follow the paper.
Little tangents like we usually do, like we already talked about. That's okay. Well, there.
Mm-hmm. But thank you for watching this episode of Outsider Stranded. Here's your host, Chance Clark. I'll let him do an outro. But I just want to say this. I love you.
Well, that's it for this video. Like, subscribe, comment something. Words.
Comment down. Fill the comments with people going down.
Watch him do that now. Honestly. But like, comment, share, and as in commenting, also comment on some things that you would like us to talk about.
Yeah. And if you have a topic,
explain,
if you have a topic on,
or for us to even research before we even talk about it,
because we're always learning things.
Yes. As well as, like, if while you're learning all this that we're talking about now, we're still learning. It's a never-ending cycle of learning. You never just stop. You're always learning about something.
The teacher often learns more than the student.
Indeed. Yeah, surprisingly. And hell, sometimes the student knows more than the teacher.
Uh-huh.
It really is. But, like I said...
But, yeah, anything you want us to talk about, philosophy, spirituality, just...
in general,
let us know.
Drop it right down below. And just share it to your friends that might be interested in this. If not, that's up to you. We love you, and we hope you have a great and wonderful time.
Hello everybody, Editing Kyle here. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Outsider Stranded. If you did, please subscribe to Chance's channel. Also, links to my channel and the Vicious Cycle of Positivity Facebook page will be in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this episode, I love you, and keep spreading that positivity.